an opposition application to host proceedings in camera. The opposition application was brought by media companies Daily Maverick and Media 24. During last week's scheduled adjournment, the Madlanga Commission announced that it would bring an application before the inquiry to host the proceedings in camera due to the sensitivity of the evidence. Evidence leader Advocate Matthew Chaskalson, Senior Counsel, explains.
The commissioners are in agreement with that. We could answer it by 5 today. And together with our answer, we would file any written argument that we thought might assist the commission. And we've asked Mr. du Plessis if his team would similarly file any written argument by 5.
Lastly, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will not attend today's summit on ending the Gaza war in Egypt after Cairo had earlier announced that he will take part. In a statement, Netanyahu's office said he had been invited by U.S. President Donald Trump to participate in the meeting of world leaders in Sharm el-Sheikh, but declined due to the timing's proximity to the beginning of a Jewish holiday. For any news stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us at +27 11 714 4459. Channel Africa News, I am Onele Nzinzi.
SABC News. The African Perspective. Get the news, music, and lifestyle of Africa on Channel Africa, the African Perspective.
With 6 minutes into 1 p.m. in Central African Time, happy Monday, Channel African. It is a pleasure to have you join us on the Monday edition of The Upside. Daily we are here, okay? Weekdays between 1 and 4 p.m. You can catch the show. My name is Mmatsheko Mosito, and a pleasure to have you on the show this afternoon. You are officially an outsider, whether you are a returning member of the tribe or you've just started listening. A pleasure to have you on board. Thank you so much to Lulu Kabu and the team, Tracy Boomgard, and of course the rest of the wonderful team. They're back with you again tomorrow, same time, right here on Channel Africa. Otherwise, thank you. If you happen to catch this broadcast live, you can watch the show. Yes, you can. You can watch the show on YouTube as well as Facebook. That is Channel Africa if you'd like to catch it live. Otherwise, the traditional World Wide Web, .channelafrica.co.za is where you can find us on satellite as well. It is Channel Africa on OpenView HD, I want to say. 628 is the number of the channel. Otherwise, on the DSTV audio bouquet. There we go. My memory is returning, okay? I'm fresh from a weekend. You've got to forgive me. Channel 802 on the DSTV audio bouquet. It's going to be a wonderful show this afternoon. If you didn't catch the throw forward, we are going to be looking at some very important issues this afternoon and unpacking consumer issues, especially when it comes to the prevention of scams. The South African Fraud Prevention Services has launched an awareness campaign to help consumers recognize scams and also how, I think most importantly, this conversation, how you can take appropriate action to protect yourself. and to spread the good news about really what's possible when it comes to being able to protect your space, yourself, matters around cybersecurity, etc. So that's coming through amongst other wonderful things. We're going to talk about what caught our eye, you and I. It's going to be wonderful. I am flying solo for the next 3 days. Tebogo Lekhuleni returns on Thursday. Welcome to the show.
The Upside, 1 to 4 p.m. Central African Time. With Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mosito. Only on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Zilipendwa na Abedi Jean de la Croix. Leo tujadili kuhusu chipukizi wanaoimba nyimbo za wasanii wengine. Unadhani hili linatokana na nini, Omari?
Nadhani kweli kwamba tukizama muziki ya sasa, hasa wasanii ambao ni chipukizi, kwa kweli kwamba yani karibu kutoka muziki wao wenyewe, lakini wanakuwa wanataka kuhubiria muziki ya zamani na muziki ya wengine ambao imetaimba.
Wengine wanadai kufanya hivyo ni kupromote vipaji vyao haraka ili waweze kujulikana. Je, yawezekana kukawa na ukweli wowote au ndio kukosa kabisa kipaji cha kuandika mistari?
Ndio, unaona kwamba msanii anapoazimia kwamba kuchukua wimbo mwingine wa msanii mwingine na kurudilia yani mara mbili sivyo, haionyeshi kwamba yani ndio wanaanza kazi ya muziki aizalini, lakini ukiangalia kabisa asilimia kubwa utakuta kwamba wanakosa ile mawazo ya kutunga muziki.
Zilipendwa kila Jumamosi kuanzia saa 12 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati hadi saa 1 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
We take no sides, none whatsoever. We are the Upside.
I don't wanna cheat on you. Everyday temptation, baby, yo, I just wanna kiss on you. I just wanna kiss on you. I don't wanna cheat on you. Everyday temptation, baby, yo, I just wanna spend on you. Come here, make us spend on you. Oh, no. Don't let me cheat on my woman, no, no. I try, you know, say I try. Don't let me cheat on my woman, no, no. I try, yeah. Look at that face, look at that bum, look at that waist. What a bum, baby, my taste. What a bum, baby, my grace. Look at that face, look at that bum, look at that waist. What a bum, baby, my taste. What a bum, baby, my grace. It's amazing. Telling me what a man go do. Everybody want a piece of me. Telling me what a man go do. It's amazing. Telling me what a man go do. Everybody want a piece of me. Telling me what a man go do.
Say you love me, scatter. I know you see this back, and I go make you never want another woman. Cause I'll be crossing the border. Give you my love on a platter. What I'm in chair, made a dream. I won't pass out what the mayor and drive me home. Biana miss your media, Kumadiko. Dabena Obeba, Donna Dabena Oba, Dabena Obeba, Donna Dabena.
Look at that face, look at that bum, look at that waist. What a bum, baby, my taste. What a bum, baby, my grace. Look at that face, look at that bum, look at that waist. What a bum, baby, my taste. What a bum, baby, my grace. I can't no one in Tina, yeah, me shade me, yeah, na makademi. Oh, I can't no one in Tina, mo bana misye. I gonna me. Lord, I love my woman. I love my woman. I don't want to look another woman. Oh, I love my baby. Oh, I love my woman. I love my woman. I don't want to look another woman. Oh, I love my baby. Look at that face. Look at that bum, look at that waist. What a bum, baby, my taste. What a bum, baby, my grace. Look at that face. Look at that bum, look at that waist. What a bum, baby, my taste. What a bum, baby, my grace.
We take no sides, none whatsoever. We are the Upside. Let the good times roll. From the 10th of October, make a note. Channel Africa is stepping into a brand new era with the launch of our upgraded website and app. It's easy, fresh, and always on your fingertips. Wherever you are in the world, Africa's voice is just a click away. The future of Channel Africa goes live from the 10th of October. Don't miss the moments. Broadcasting in 5 different languages, connecting the continent. This is Channel Africa, the African perspective. The Upside, 1 to 4 p.m. Central African Time. With Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mosito. Only on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
14 minutes into 1 p.m. Central African Time. Thank you for tuning in. The Upside with Mmaseko until 4 p.m. Flying solo for the next few days. Tebogo Lekhuleni will be back in studio on Thursday. So we are going to be looking at, our first conversation really looks at fighting back against financial scams launched by the Southern African, the Southern African Fraud Prevention Services. So they are looking to really create awareness. There's an entire campaign that they've launched that is creating awareness to help drive South Africans to really spot the signs of fraudulent activity so that you know how to navigate it. Because these are scary times. Lots of convenience, but that convenience comes with a lot of, or rather, a lot of fraudulent activity that could really put you and your family at risk. So we're going to be looking at this. We're going to be getting in touch with the Chief Executive Officer of the South African Fraud Prevention Services. His name is Manie van Schalkwyk, and he's going to take us through the scams. What are we talking about here? What are the risks? What does phishing look like in this day and age? Because technology and artificial intelligence and all these wonderful things are advancing every 3 months. There's always something to catch up on, right? And I think for me, what's been so significant is not ignoring when your bank sends you an email to warn you about the next phishing scam, to not ignore it, to actually read it, because there could be some value in there for you. So imagine going about your day when your phone rings and there's a voice on the other end that claims to be from a bank, warning you about fraud on your account. They often sound very convincing, don't they? And before you think twice, they're asking you for confidential information like your PIN, your ID number. Click on this particular link that we've sent you, and the security of your funds is then compromised due to that. So that's just one example. And this is where the South African Fraud Prevention Services steps in with clear messaging around when to say goodbye. Okay, when you hear this and it really doesn't sound like it's going in the right direction, you have every right to hang up. They are launching a new campaign to help South Africans recognize scams and take simple, effective steps to prevent their hard-earned money from disappearing. Okay, it's very easy, I think, to say that this will never happen to me, but this is a very important conversation because fraudsters are very good at being able to pose as bank officials, mobile providers, insurers, all of that, government agents. They really are so good at being able to lure their prey and gain your trust literally within a few seconds. So let's talk about this new campaign and let's talk about how effective it's going to be at this time. Manie van Schalkwyk is joining me on the line in his capacity as the Chief Executive Officer of the South African Fraud Prevention Services. Manie, a pleasure to have you on Channel Africa. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, and thank you for inviting me to your show.
Very important conversation, one that definitely never gets old, I think, because the advancement of fraudulent activity is not only on the rise, but it's advancing, isn't it? So let's talk about the common phone scams that we are seeing and recognizing in South Africa today, and who is most at risk.
Okay, thank you for that. I think what we looked at is we're trying to, as fraud experts, sometimes trying to tell customers what is vishing, what is phishing, what is smishing, and people get confused in the messages. As part of when we're doing this education, we saw a significant increase in the number of people who are getting called by the so-called bank. And I think I want to rather to tell people what smishing and vishing and phishing is, to say, how do you recognize it? What is it? And I think the short message is people phone you and they claim to be your bank. They've got some information correct because they stole it in a data breach. So they'll say, you live at this address. This is your telephone number. Your card end with the last 4 digits are these. And they put you at ease to think these people are really from the bank. They are not. They are fraudsters. So when people phone you to say, listen, there's fraud on your account, and we want to secure the funds, or we'll send you a one-time PIN just to make sure we're speaking to the right person, and they're starting to put pressure on you if you don't want to do it. Just say goodbye. Just say goodbye, put down the phone, and phone your bank. Phone the bank on the number that you have, not what the fraudster is trying to give you. Phone the number that's on the back of your bank card. Phone that number and find out directly from the bank on your number what is going on. But we are so scared when these people phone, and we so want to not lose our money that we cooperate with.
Yes. Very important. And it's so sad because you are actually just cooperating with the fraudster, a scam expert. Okay, very important. We're going to unpack the nitty-gritties around the new campaign that is helping South Africans to recognize these scams and to take simple, effective steps to protect themselves going forward. Let's take a break.
Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802. Are you fluent in French, Chinyanja, Portuguese, and Kiswahili? Are you passionate about radio? And are you looking to work in South Africa? Do you have papers that qualify you to work in South Africa? In that case, we might have an opportunity for you to work for Channel Africa. Send us your CV and demo at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Remember, if you don't hear from us within 14 days, it means you have not made it or you have not been selected. Channel Africa, the African perspective. The upside. On the upside, your voice matters.
All right, 21 minutes past 1 p.m. in Central African time. A new campaign helping South Africans to recognize scams and take some steps so that you can protect yourself and your loved ones and your hard-earned money. Very, very important, especially as we're getting into this festive season for the tail end of 2025. This is very valuable information. Manny van Schalkwyk, Chief Executive Officer of the Southern African Fraud Prevention Services, joins me on the line. Manny, let's talk about the campaign. How are you rolling it out? How are you creating awareness?
Well, we thank you for that. We obviously using the media as we're currently using, with that very short message to say what you need to do, and the answer is just say goodbye. We are then contacted all our members, but more specifically the banks and the cell phone companies, and to say, please help us send the same message, that consumers can hear the same message for the next 3 months, is to say, when do you say goodbye? And all the banks agreed that they will do it. And so expect from your bank the next couple of months the same message, maybe in different forms, maybe with a different example. But it is clear, if you are getting phoned, you say there's fraud in your account and you need to do something to enact the saving, in inverted commas, the saving of the rest of your funds, or just to confirm that you are the correct person, hang up. Don't try to convince people. There are super intelligent. They are super experts in what they do. They will try any way to convince you that they are definitely from the bank, and that you are about to lose all your money. And my message is, hang up the phone and pick up phone the bank on your number and confirm what's going on. They usually 99.9% nothing is going on. The bank will never ask you to do something or to unveil confidential information that will help these fraudsters to steal all your money effectively.
Okay. Just in closing, Manny, are you working with the banks to make this campaign effective? Because there's obviously,
Absolutely.
I mean, what you're talking about here is a type of language that is used that people are not familiar with. You know, I've taken the time, for example, to really study how my bank speaks to me, because the fraudsters are experts, yes, but I think if we listen carefully, we'll be able to pick up the flaws. Are you working with the banks in this regard?
Definitely working with the banks, and they will convey the same message either on their website, on a WhatsApp, on an SMS, just to say, this is the message. And as I'm speaking to you now, I'm sure the fraudsters are listening to me as well. And they
Yes.
will probably a similar campaign, which they will say, but click on this link just to make sure you're safe. So be careful. We need to just realize that these people are all over, and to be careful, don't click on links if other people a one-time pin. It doesn't matter how confident they sound and where they say they are from.
Yeah, rather be safe than sorry. Okay, if there's any doubt, even if it feels like silly doubt, I think you've got to take that seriously. Okay, so safps.org.za if you wish to acquaint yourself with the work of the Southern African Fraud Prevention Service. You can get lots of information. There's a news button there. There's fraud prevention information on there. There's a number that you can call as well. So just make sure you go on the website and get more information. Manny, thanks for the time. I think this was very, very important during the festive season where our money is, at risk of disappearing. But we really have the power to prevent that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Manny van Schalkwyk, Chief Executive Officer of the Southern African Fraud Prevention Service. 1:26. We take a break and then we get into sports in a moment.
Get the news, music, and lifestyle of Africa on Channel Africa, the African perspective. Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa.
Sweet melody. When I just found my way to you, anytime where you hear my cocoa, tell me what you gonna do. You should run to me. I'm on set, I wanna book a shape you. It is troubling me. I'm so scared I'm gonna lose my baby. Keep some trust for me. I know be that type of fake where man. I go fight for thee. Do anything to keep you, my baby. Constantly pick it, check out my hope. You know, go give me to a man when somebody go give you full of wash. You know, go live for me, go. You know I'm so loyal, let me more. You know I'm so loyal, let me more, let me more. You know
You're listening to Channel Africa. The name of the program is The Upside, on with you until 4 p.m. in Central African Time. Chela with Loyal, the title of the song. Thank you for being here. If you just started listening and catching this broadcast live, a pleasure to have you here. I'd love to know how you are listening. Is it on satellite? On in Southern Africa on the DSTV audio bouquet, or on OpenView HD? Is it on the World Wide Web? Is it across other satellite channels on PAS 10? Is it, listen, you can watch us anywhere now. You can find us everywhere. Is it on Facebook? Is it on YouTube? I'd love to know where you are, where you're catching the program from. So drop us a line if you do happen to catch this broadcast live. I'd love to hear from you. Our suggestion box is on Twitter at Channel Africa 1, hashtag The Upside, and let's track the conversation there. All right. You're also welcome to drop your comments on Facebook and YouTube if you are catching this broadcast live. We're also on TikTok. Did I mention we're on Instagram? I didn't mention that. Yes, we are. We're everywhere. Okay, so there's no excuse. You can definitely follow the program everywhere. We're going to be getting into a conversation around townships, township economy, the emergence of opportunity in previously very oppressive spaces, which is wonderful to see. Okay, so we're going to look at entrepreneurship and the growth thereof in township settings, using South Africa as an example. It is 1:30 right now. We're going to cross straight to the sports desk.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
And it's a very good afternoon from the sports desk. I am Mosibu Dimakura with the latest sports news at the Sawa. So Zimbabwe national team vice captain Marshall Monetsi has shared just how his Nigerian teammate Tolu Arogadare was on his case to produce a good result when they faced Bafana Bafana in a 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier. The Zimbabwean Warriors delivered a goalless draw against Bafana Bafana at the Moses Mabhida Stadium in Durban on Friday, a result that has thrown Group C wide open going into tomorrow's last games. Out of contention for the top spot, the Warriors play Lesotho in their final game tomorrow in Polokwane in South Africa's Limpopo province. And Monetsi is also interested to see which country between South Africa, Nigeria or Benin will emerge victorious and qualify for next year's World Cup.
I think even for me, I have a teammate who's playing for Nigeria. So as soon as he saw that South Africa was deducted 3 points, he was on my case in training. So I think it's exciting for African football because I think everybody was watching to see how the group is going to be like. But obviously South Africa have really been doing well. I think if you check their record since the last AFCON, they've been progressing very well. And I think for us, we are just here to enjoy the game and build up for AFCON. So I think for the other teams, they have the pressure. So I'm also looking forward to see what's going to happen in the last game.
Now, their goalless draw against Bafana Bafana was one of their polished performance yet in this campaign, and Monetsi says they can build from it as they continue their preparations for the Africa Cup of Nations tournament in December of this year, hosted by Morocco.
I think obviously when you play for Zimbabwe, also with the players we have, I think you'd always want to win a game of football, but obviously the context was very different for us. We had nothing to really play for beside our pride, but we know that South Africa, we're trying to fight to qualify. But obviously, as competitors, you'd want to show your A game when you play in a stadium like this. And most of us, I think, we played in South Africa. We know how the atmosphere is. And also, we have to remember that this is our direct opponents when it comes to the AFCON. So I think it's a game we could not have lost, but it's a game also we have to learn and also take, I think, some learning things that we can take for the AFCON.
Still on football news, but further afield, Memphis Depay broke the record for most assists for the Netherlands and extended his own goal-scoring record in his side's comfortable World Cup qualifier win over Finland last night. Now, the 31-year-old forward picked out Aston Villa's Donyell Malen to fire in the opener from outside of the box, and Depay then swung in a free kick, which Liverpool captain Virgil van Dijk headed in to make it 2-0. That was his 35th assist in the orange jersey, taking him to 2 above Wesley Sneijder's old record. Now, that was Depay's 54th goal for his country, stretching the national record he broke just last month. Now, Liverpool forward Cody Gakpo lashed in a late 4th goal following a pass from Tottenham Hotspur Xavi Simons. Now, after 6 games, the Netherlands currently top the group, that is Group G, by about 3 points from Poland, who beat Lithuania by 2-0 on Sunday Sunday, where we saw Robert Lewandowski being on target for the Poland's men's national football team. Back on the continent now, Morocco made a strong statement with a 3-1 victory over the United States of America in the quarterfinals of the FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Chile last night. So from the start, the Americans pressed very high and dominated possession, but the Moroccan defense held firm and struck with clinical efficiency when it was needed. Now, the Total Energies CAF Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations runner-ups will face off with France in the semi-finals come Wednesday, with a place in the finals up for grabs. And finally, in live cricket action, Bangladesh are facing off with South Africa in their match at the ODI Women's World Cup. Bangladesh earlier on winning the toss and electing to bat first in this encounter. So after 29 overs, Bangladesh are on 96 for the loss of 2 wickets, taking their decision, of course, to bat against South Africa, who are looking rather to continue with their winning streak at this year's World Cup and looking for their 3rd win on the trot. It's 13:35 p.m. Central African Time. And concludes your sports news this hour. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Alternatively, call us on +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Mosibu Di Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
1:35. Let's cross to the economics desk to find out the latest in business news.
Hi there. Do you want to elevate your business and give it a voice in South Africa and Africa as a whole? Well, in that case, let Channel Africa make this a possibility. Channel Africa is willing to advertise your business for as little as 30,000 rands or $1,719.18. To get access to these great rates, send all requests to mukwenata@SABC. That's MOKOENATA@SABC. Channel Africa, the African Perspective. Business news on Channel Africa, the African Perspective.
Thank you, Mmatsheko. Good afternoon. Cocoa farmers in Cameroon have expressed their dissatisfaction due to a combination of falling commodity prices, which have caused debt and a bean quality crisis. The harmonization of prices per kilo of cocoa has been problematic since last year, and they are now demanding a solution from the Ministry of Commerce. Cocoa farmers are a vital part of the country's economy, producing around 300,000 metric tons of cocoa annually. Pamela Komba reports from Yaoundé.
About 50 kilometers from Yaoundé, the Cameroonian capital city, and more precisely in Meki, cocoa farmers claim that the price per kilo was set at 4,500 francs CFA, which is about $8 by the Ministry of Trade, but it has been selling well below that.
French broadcasting group Canal Plus says that it's planning a secondary listing on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, JSE, after it acquired South African broadcaster MultiChoice. Canal Plus closed the $2 billion MultiChoice acquisition in September, adding MultiChoice's extensive African subscriber base to its portfolio, with the combined entity serving more than 40 million subscribers across nearly 70 countries. It will begin the listing process in Johannesburg once MultiChoice has been delisted from the JSE. The delisting is expected to be completed before the year end. Women remain underrepresented in senior management and on company boards across the G20 nations, despite accounting for at least 40% of global GDP. This was revealed at the market opening ceremony at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange in South Africa to mark the official launch of Summit. It is a G20 engagement group dedicated to advancing women's economic participation across the globe. Head of delegation of W20 South Africa, Professor Nania Bola Müller, says more needs to be done for women's financial inclusion and enterprise.
We have a while to go. I mean, it is our purpose as Women 20 to mainstream gender equality and women's economic empowerment into G20 processes. But I think that there's been a bit of a step back, and we're wondering where we're going from here into 2026, whether gender equality is going to be on the agenda again.
The Somali Tourism Agency has launched organized tours across Mogadishu and the southwest region aiming to foster national pride and stimulate local economies. Improved security in the capital has boosted public confidence, making group travel more viable. Tourists visited Nemo Sand, a popular destination for camel rides and outdoor recreation. They say the atmosphere is perfect and it feels like a divine gift to be there. The agency says that it currently hosts tours on Thursdays and Fridays with around 150 participants per trip. JP Morgan Chase launched a $1.5 trillion plan to facilitate, finance and invest in industries deemed critical to the U.S. national security and economic resilience, including defense, energy and advanced manufacturing. As part of the 10-year initiative, the largest U.S. lender also plans to hire more bankers and invest up to $10 billion into U.S. companies through direct equity and venture capital investments, focusing on fast-growing businesses and key manufacturers. The announcement comes as U.S. President Donald Trump's administration looks to modernize infrastructure and reduce dependence on foreign supply chains. Now let's have a look at financial indicators. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,461 naira. In Botswana, 13 pula 11. Kenya, the dollar is 127 shilling 736. Zambia 22 kwacha 52. BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is at 5 real 19. Russia 81 rupees 42. India 88 rupees 75. China 71.14. South Africa 17 rand 48 cents. $1 is 74 pence to the British pound and 85 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is at $4,078, platinum at $1,643 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil at $63.71 a barrel. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or you can call us on +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Chanduko Ligege.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. We take no sides, none whatsoever. We are the upside.
África. Conhece o Ntivani?
Claro que sou eu.
Ntivani é o amante da música de corpo e alma.
Eu amo música africana.
Ele aprecia todos os tipos de melodias e passa os seus dias a ouvir a Channel Africa. Okay. Adivinha só, a Channel Africa quer ajudar o Ntivani e os amantes da música em todo o lado a descobrir ainda mais música incrível. Por isso, a Channel Africa está a convocar artistas africanos a submeterem as suas músicas. Músicos, lembrem-se de nos dar todas as informações relevantes no music@channelafrica.co.za. As submissões são a vossa oportunidade de ser ouvidos, mas não garantem inclusão na lista. Todas as submissões serão cuidadosamente analisadas para verificar se cumprem os requisitos da nossa estação. Canal África, a perspectiva africana.
No matter where you are, Channel Africa is always with you. We are on OpenView's audio bouquet. Channel 628. Let the good times roll. From the 10th of October, make a note. Channel Africa is stepping into a brand new era with the launch of our upgraded website and app. It's easy, fresh, and always on your fingertips. Wherever you are in the world, Africa's voice is just a click away. The future of Channel Africa goes live from the 10th of October. Don't miss the moments. Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa.
Sithemba sam sondela ngiklebele ungadinwa mina ngisakuthanda when I hear your song I miss you ngiyafuna.
The Upside, taking the African perspective to fresh levels.
He was made for me, not for him.
mina ngifela isono noma sengiphansi ngiphezulu ngizama ukuveza ikhono sengilahla indlela zami zakudala ngindoda engcono ngiziphathwe kwe-gentleman ngicela indlebe ngikhwela umbono shono I figured that we are still a team we're still like figurines I'm scared of what it means revive a dying dream a trip to the Philippines vula mehlo sithanda sama ungathi let's spetho
mind and the heart they don't agree.
Just got even better, fresh and exciting. The Upside.
tuntikela injantumiyereso olokolombedese. Yamaruyo, Janti Erso, Falakiso, Yamaruyo, Janti Erso, Falakiso.
Coming through with Pochita John Techindon, and you heard Southern African music from Ayambama featuring Kabomo, Mind Your Heart. Thank you for tuning in. This is The Upside with Mmatsheko Mosito until 4 p.m. It's a Monday. We're 13 days into the month of October, and it's moving quickly, hey? Before we know it, it'll be December. And I mean, we've already, of course, officially begun the 90-day countdown towards the tail end of the year, the end of the year. That started on the 1st of October. So that should give you some indication of how quickly the year is moving. And before we know it, we'll only have, 30 days left to wrap up the year. 10 minutes exactly to go till it's 2 p.m. in Central African time. We are still in the first hour of the show. Did you listen to the Economics News Bulletin with Tebogo Legege? In literally the past, he gave us an update about 10 minutes ago. Very interesting that he spoke about women executives, or the lack thereof, if I could put it that way, when we look at G20 countries. So basically the gist of the story, as I understood it in Mr. Legege's bulletin, was around women executives being notably non-existent, or very few of them, if I could perhaps use that term, in some of the G20 countries, due to factors like deeply ingrained gender stereotypes are quite a thing. Structural barriers, discriminatory social institutions. So countries with the lowest representation include Saudi Arabia, countries like Japan, South Korea, are just some, to name a few, where cultural norms often confine women to specific roles, and legal or policy gaps in those areas also inflate issues like sexual harassment, where protection needs to persist. So I thought it was very interesting, but then I'm very interested to find out if similar issues are being researched on the African continent. And it seems like on our continent, there's a mix of progression and some challenges that are still there somewhat. So when we look at some of the overlapping issues on the African continent, it looks like progress in leadership roles is still an issue, cultural and structural barriers. So when you look at G20 countries with low representation, many African societies have deeply rooted gender norms that often limit women access to senior roles, which includes expectations around family responsibility is a big one, traditional views on leadership, and limited networking opportunities. I was listening and watching a podcast online yesterday with two women who had written a book about being fired in corporate spaces, and kind of advising other women what to do if they get fired. And something very interesting came up in that podcast and that conversation around the construct of work and how it was built, by the masculine, and that it doesn't really offer much service and protection and all of that good stuff to women, because it wasn't built for women to begin with. And if you look at the last 100, how many years have women really been in the workforce? It's been a good 100 years, which is not long considering how long humanity has been here. The construct of work and corporate spaces and how we are seeing workforces being built, it really is a masculine thing and not so much a feminine thing. So perhaps that's a good piece of information if we're to relook at legal and policy frameworks that are going to change on the African continent. We need to definitely introduce policies to promote gender equality and look at those quotas and look at how workspaces and workforces have been built so that these policies can support women and their efforts in the workplace, because there is still quite a lot of discrimination and harassment. But I thought it was very interesting that Chandugo brought that to our attention. And if you were listening, I would like to hear what your opinion is on that matter. Do you think there is still a lot of oppression, when it comes to women's progression in executive roles in the workforce? Let me know. Whether you are in Kenya, whether you are in Nigeria, whether you're in Tanzania, whether you are in Mozambique, I would love to hear from you. Drop us a line and let us know. We're going to head to the news bulletin in the next 5 minutes.
The Upside with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mosito, bringing Africa's voices to the world. On Channel Africa, the African perspective.
And you know, I'm dealing with my friends, I'm dealing with your friends, and you know it. We're gonna get mad sex, we're gonna get mad sex, and you know we gotta make you come fresh, we gotta make you come fresh. Make we no throw it, oh, make we no forget. Yeah, make your day, swing your love my way. Baby, not today. You want to fight or you want to stay? Do me wrong and I take all the blame. Do me something or make I go crazy. Say you want and you need. When you call her they busy. Oh, make me take on the easy. Teach your love to the greedy. Yeah. Every time you then tease me, say you better for leave me. Oh, make me not turn smarty into bigger something. Yeah. Dealing with my stress, dealing with your stress, and you know I'm dealing with my friends. Dealing with your friends, and you know it. We're gonna get mad sex, we're gonna get mad sex, and you know we gotta make you come fresh, we gotta make you come fresh. Then you know, like I know, that you know, that I know. And you know I'm dealing with my friends, I'm dealing with your friends, and you know it. We're gonna get mad sex, we're gonna get mad sex, and you know we gotta make you come fresh, we gotta make you come fresh. Then you know, like I know, that you know, that I know.
Thanks for staying with us here on The Upside. A pleasure to bring you good quality continental radio until 4 p.m. in Central African time. Mondays we dedicate to property. All right, the property sector, always very exciting to see what's happening here. And today is going to be very interesting because we are tapping into the township economy when we talk property. I mean, a good 20 years ago, this would have been a completely different conversation. I mean, yes, there are suburban townships, if you will, but they are few and far between. But now the conversation is much bigger and, might I add, much better. As we look at townships across South Africa, using South Africa as an example, we are seeing that they are fast becoming a place not only to live, but also to invest, to look at opportunity when it comes to growing one's property portfolio. Okay, residents are looking to expand and looking at some really strong potentials for not only social upliftment, residential upliftment, but also good financial returns. So we're going to look at what's developing in the township economy, particularly in the property sector, and also I'd like us, when we come out of the news, to really look at other townships on the African continent, and if they are employing kind of similar constructs to infrastructure and problem solving at the scale as well. So we're going to look at Nigeria, we're going to look at Kenya, we're going to look at Ghana, we're going to look at Tanzania. Stay with us. It is 2 p.m. in Central African time. Onelin Zinzi is standing by at her news desk to fill us in on the latest.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Mmatsheko. Looking at your top stories, Madagascan president to address the nation this evening, and vote counting continues in Cameroon following yesterday's presidential election. The latest news. Greetings to our listeners. Madagascan President Andry Rajoelina is expected to address the nation this evening. His office announced this on Facebook after officers supporting youth-led protests said they were in control of the African island's paramilitary soldiers. Yesterday, the Armed Forces Minister recognized a military-backed officer as the new army chief. President Rajoelina has called the move an attempted coup. Meanwhile, South Africa has voiced deep concern over the unrest in the country. Madagascan lawyer and political analyst Toki Ramileson.
In a sense, history is repeating itself. But as I said, this time it's a little bit different because you must remember that the Minister of Defense, who yesterday recognized General Pikulas as the new Army Chief of Staff, was appointed 3 days ago by Rajoelina himself. And I guess this time there is a real caution from the side of the armed forces not to make this become an outright coup. I think they are rather taking a step-by-step, almost negotiated approach within the armed forces, but also with the Rajoelina loyalists.
Vote counting is continuing in Cameroon following yesterday's presidential election. Incumbent Paul Biya is widely expected to extend his 43-year grip on power. Biya is the world's oldest ruler at the age of 92. His opponents include 76-year-old Issa Chiroma, who is a former government spokesperson. Head of our French desk, Pamela Kumba, is in Cameroon.
At least 4 out of 10 provinces have been counted, but it is strictly forbidden to speculate on any figures. Yet we can see some of the figures coming out, who's leading and who's not, who's second, who's third, but the law forbids everybody to just speculate. We just have to wait for the ELECAM, which is the Electoral Commission, to give the first preliminary result. In the city, everything is back to normal. People they don't have much expectation.
Evidence leaders in the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in South Africa have submitted their application that hearings between the 13th to the 17th of October 2025 be heard in camera. They say this is due to the sensitivity of witness statements that will be submitted before the commission. The Madlanga Commission in South Africa is looking into criminality, corruption and political interference in the criminal justice system. They further submitted the hearings from the 20th to the 22nd of October be anonymized rather. This means that witnesses will testify remotely with only an audio. Sibahle Mota reports.
Evidence leaders in the Madlanga Commission have cited 4 reasons for witness testimony to be heard in camera without the presence of the media and the public. This includes the safety of witnesses, the protection of ongoing criminal investigations, the protection of investigative methods and operational security, and the protection of informants and confidential sources. Proceedings in the Madlanga Commission were adjourned on Monday after Media 24 and Daily Maverick opposed the application by the evidence leaders to hear witness testimony in camera.
South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has sent his condolences to the nations of Zimbabwe and Malawi who have lost compatriots in a bus crash which took place near Luethrichot in the Limpopo province yesterday. In a statement, the president says the incident is a tragedy both for South Africa and these sister states. A reported 42 travelers died in the incident on the N1 on Sunday afternoon while they were en route to their home countries from Gqeberha in the Eastern Cape province. Ramaphosa says his thoughts and those of the country are with the families, friends and colleagues of the deceased, while he wished dozens of the injured persons a full and speedy recovery. Lastly, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will not attend today's summit on ending the Gaza war in Egypt after Cairo had earlier announced that he would take part. In a statement, Netanyahu's office said he had been invited by U.S. President Donald Trump to participate in the meeting of world leaders in Sharm el-Sheikh, but declined due to the timing's proximity to the beginning of a Jewish holiday. Now recapping on your top stories, Madagascar President Andry Rajoelina is expected to address the nation this evening. His office made the announcement on Facebook after officers supporting youth-led protests said they were in control of the African country. Channel Africa News, I'm Onele Nzinzi.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
We're 7 minutes into 2 p.m. in Central African Time. Thank you for your listening ear. This is the second hour of The Upside with Mmatsheko Mosito until 4 p.m. in Central African Time. We are talking property. It's Monday, so that is tradition on the show for us to look at property matters of all kinds, especially opportunity. Opportunity has been quite a big thing on our program over the last several weeks. So we're looking at the township economy and property and how the two are interlinked. Townships across South Africa are fast becoming more than just a place to live. They're also coming up as centers for a lot of opportunity. Entrepreneurship is on the rise, and township properties are definitely not left behind in this equation, as they are showing a strong potential for both social upliftment and also financial return. We're going to be talking about this. We're going to look at the quality of housing and how it is progressing in many township spaces. We'll look at Soweto as an example, which is the largest township in the country of South Africa. Southwestern Township is what it's known as in full. So Soweto, parts of the Western Cape in Khayelitsha, as well as in the KZN province in Umlazi. We're going to look at that as well. So we're going to look at this quiet transformation that's taking shape. What does it look like? What opportunities lie within the property sector? Gavin Kabela is going to be joining me in his capacity as financial advisor for property investment, or rather financial advisor, property investment strategist. That's what Gavin Kabela is. And he's going to be joining me. We're going to have a conversation. But I started to think about what this possibly looks like in townships and informal settlements in other African countries, because there are similarities. You know, we are facing similar challenges as African countries when we talk about things like a lack of infrastructure. You know, issues around overcrowding in township areas is quite a big deal, and in urban settings as well. I mean, we're seeing more and more of that as well. Limited access to services is quite a serious issue. So are other townships on the African region able to scale at the same level? Well, let's look at Kenya for a second. It looks like there have been efforts to improve housing and infrastructure through both community initiatives and private investment. But as you and I speak, progression is still uneven. It's still very sketchy at this time. Nigeria, especially in the city of Lagos, informal settlements are also evolving in that area, with some private developers and NGOs trying to bring better housing and services. Ghana and Tanzania, well, in those particular regions, there are emerging trends of upgrading slums or informal areas with new housing projects and better amenities. So it looks like in other parts of the African continent, there is some progression, although still very sketchy, still very uneven. But I think it's more about a better quality of life for the locals, for the people that are living there currently, not so much in terms of economic opportunity to develop the townships and for the people that are living in those areas to make money off of them. So we still have a long way to go, but perhaps that's a different conversation. Okay, today we're going to be looking at South Africa as an example and talking about the townships here in South Africa and how they are booming spaces for entrepreneurship and growth in the property sector. We're going to speak to Gavin in just a few minutes. Stay with us.
Your afternoons just got even better, fresh and exciting.
The Upside, hooking you up with today's news
from an African perspective.
Mix Vibration sur Channel Africa.
Qu'est-ce qui vous a amené à dire ça? Est-ce que vous avez observé un certain nombre d'événements dans la vie? Est-ce que c'était par rapport à une expérience? Est-ce que vous avez rencontré des choses qui vous ont dit il faut de la patience, comme ça les choses vont venir au bon moment et les bons dieux pourra peut-être me visiter?
Oui, c'était justement un conseil que le Seigneur m'a fait inspirer pour donner à son peuple, parce qu'il y a la plupart des gens, pendant que Dieu bénit les autres, ils pensent que Dieu les a oubliés, et pendant que Dieu ouvre pour les autres, ils pensent que peut-être Dieu n'a pas pu écouter leurs prières. Alors, ce n'est pas le cas. Alors, Dieu bénit tout un chacun de nous avec son temps. Donc, le temps de Dieu est toujours le meilleur dans la vie de tout un chacun de nous.
Mix Vibration, tous les dimanches de 18h à 19h, temps universel.
Channel Africa, your voice, your sound, and your home. Stay locked right here.
Jambo lolote akilini mwako? Je, una shauku kuhusu masuala muhimu? Na je, una maoni ambayo unataka yasikike? Kweli, hili jukwaa ni la kwako. Piga simu au tuandikie kwenda WhatsApp namba alama ya kujumulisha 2760552594 na tutakupigia simu.
Mtangazaji wa habari zetu za Afrika Kusini mjini Johannesburg.
Hivyo unaweza kuwa mshirika kwenye matangazo yetu. Sio mazungumzo tu, ni fursa yako ya kuchangia maoni yako na kushirikiana na jumuiya ya wasikilizaji wanaotamani mtazamo wako. Tufuate kwenye mitandao ya kijamii. Tembelea tovuti yetu www.channelafrica.co.za na uwe tayari kushiriki na kuchangia maoni yako kwenye Channel Africa. Channel Africa, mtazamo wa Kiafrika.
They talk about what Africans say about Africa.
jwang ke eng o re ke tswetswe ke mosadi ha ba botsa ba re thapelo wa e tseba neng ke hodisitswe ke mosadi tsela e ntle wa ikgetha jwang ka tataiso ya mosadi.
Born in the mountain kingdom of Lesotho, her name is Malere Mosadi, the title of the song. She's based here in South Africa and she just makes the most exquisite music, might I add. So let's talk property. Let's look at townships across South Africa as they fast become more than just places for places of residence, so to speak, but they're also emerging as centers for a lot of opportunity, a lot of entrepreneurship, activity and growth. Township properties are also showing strong potential for both social upliftment and financial return. Developers are beginning to see that quality housing, even in modest places, can create communities that are safer, more dignified and more sustainable. So we're looking at Soweto as an example, the southwestern townships. Here in Johannesburg, we're looking at places like Khayelitsha, we're looking at places in KwaZulu-Natal, in Mlazi as well. So there's this transformation that's kind of taking shape in township areas where once property investment was a limited idea. It wasn't even an idea at all. There is now a growing confidence and a creativity that is blossoming in these areas as we mention it. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the stronger communities that are being built, but also just a renewal in terms of how people are viewing their properties as spaces for investment. Gavin Mkabela joins me as a financial advisor, property investment strategist on the show. Gavin, welcome to Channel Africa. Pleasure to have you join us this afternoon.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me yet again. Truly appreciate you. I hope you're good.
I am wonderful, sir. Thank you. I think this is a very exciting conversation, considering that 20 years ago, had we had this conversation, you and I, it would have been completely different. You know, options were there, but very limited and available only for a specific demographic. But because the world is changing and shaping and shifting, and young people are becoming so proactive in matters around property and, you know, turning their grandmother's house into, you know, some sort of investment property. Let's talk about it. What has changed in recent years to make the township property market and development more attractive, if I could use that word, when we look at investment and entrepreneurship?
Yeah, look, I think one of the key elements that have really played a factor is that obviously we're seeing a lot of retail, big guys coming into townships, obviously building malls. We even see in other, areas that you'll have, office spaces coming through. So obviously that in itself, it's creating this, diversification around, especially how people work. So they don't necessarily have to go to, they travel far. So they're finding these spaces a bit quicker. In terms of the shopping experience, yes, you can go into, the suburban areas to go and shop, but now, that experience has been brought closer. There's a big mall, coming up in Soshanguve, and that on itself, you look at the features, so beautiful. So that experience is becoming now closer to home. So obviously that means that, especially from an investment perspective, as an investor or as a developer, you want to obviously cater to now the different kind of market. Now we are seeing back rooms moving into more the multi-let, which great features coming through. So I think the aspect of now all these things are becoming closer to people, that plays a big and a major role.
That sounds exciting. And I think also just from the perspective of just instilling more confidence and a renewed pride in our local spaces is also quite important. Gavin Kabela joins me on the line. He is a financial advisor, property investment strategist, and we're talking about the booming investment and development space within township settings. 20 minutes past 2. We're back after this.
Siyabangena manje. Vito iJabulani Nkolele iMagoda. Jabulani is a young man from Giyani in Limpopo in South Africa. Very easy guy, taking things easy. To know me is to know that I love what I do, which I'm crazy about it. So when you hear me on radio, expect the best. Expect great music. Expect great content. Expect 180 minutes of nothing but fun. You'll find me on the morning reset, 3 to 6 a.m., Monday to Friday. Siyabangena baba. Ay. Mbuleke.
Whatever you want to hear about today's talk, you can only get it on the Upside. Every weekday, 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time.
We're 21 minutes into 2 p.m. Welcome back. We're talking about the township spaces. We're using South Africa as an example and looking at the fast growing opportunity and entrepreneurship opportunity, if I could say, around township properties and how it's getting better and better for the locals. Gavin Kabela joins me on the line. He is a financial advisor, property investment strategist. Gavin, let's talk about how improving the quality of housing in the township spaces as we see it, how does that affect the surrounding community and the economy overall in locality?
I mean, it plays a major role in a sense that, I mean, if we go back, I would say maybe 10 years ago, we'll look at in terms of how especially the back rooms, aspect of things, how they were structured, how they were done, compared to now. Like it seems like at other places you're in a different world. Of course, when that happens, it means now that somebody that might be thinking of going to, let's say, Midrand, now they are in, Ebony Park, because in terms of the how the units are done, it's great, especially now you look at there's an emphasis around, one wants me to have their private toilets or bathroom. They want to have their little kitchenette. So in essence, if now I have all these things that I would get in, let's say the liney places, I can get it here in township and for a far lesser price. So obviously that means that your young professionals, guys that are working, people that can afford that, or they could afford to go out of the township, they now stay, or some of them even moving from, the suburban places and going back into the township. So obviously that, increases the economic activity within the township itself, because as much as a lot of the townships or communities are reliant on, your social grants, but when you now mix it with people that have, even a much stronger spending power, that obviously means that is why we're seeing even, retailers and other businesses, which are big, coming into the townships because they want to invest there, because they see that there's a lot of growth. So all of a sudden the LSM, is no longer from a low side of things, but we're now moving even to the middle end, even to the higher end, in the township, which is great, which makes that the township economy becomes vibrant and it's maturing as we are going.
Okay. There's a lot going on. And I'm also just thinking about, perhaps before we talk about developers, Gavin, let's talk about using the structures that are currently there, which were not very beautiful houses to live in. The toilet was outside and it was just a 3-roomed house or a 4-roomed house, using Soweto as an example. But let's talk about the design features that we're seeing now. I mean, you mentioned some of them in your response earlier, but how are those making properties more appealing but also how are people in the township now using those opportunities to get tenants to bring in some business for themselves?
Yeah, look, I mean, it really covers a lot of things. I mean, for example, if you look at prepaid meters, for example, right? Prepaid meters are really solving our issues because I'm also in that space a lot where I am helping investors, especially with multi-letting, right? And when you now have prepaid meters, that in itself, as much as it's convenient to the tenant, because if it's multi-letting now, it means that maybe there's one house and there's five tenants. Now, within that space, obviously, if now we share electricity, then we don't know who uses more. And now there becomes, obviously, there's a fight coming on in terms of I don't use more, but I'm paying more. But if now there is now these prepaid that are able to regulate how we now running that particular investment property, that definitely helps a lot. And it also helps from the basis of the investor can start to, able to reconcile much easier than if there's just one collective in terms of supply, even water itself, because there's some of the things that we are also looking at. But coming to the tenant, it also means that I can control my spending. So I know exactly what I use. So that's one of those things. And again, you have things such as your Wi-Fi. That is now a major draw card as well coming in. People want to have access to connectivity, and not just access to connectivity, but reliable, connectivity, so that because now people are also working from home, and people are now obviously doing, doubling into not just working one job, but maybe have three jobs. So all these things definitely then become, it becomes a key thing when we are now looking at the environment of the township in particular as well.
Okay, that's an interesting layer, especially for multi-lets, which are becoming quite a thing in many spaces. And obviously, I would imagine developers are really using the township market to not only make the properties affordable, but also high quality. But with that said, let's look at the role of institutions, government policies as well. How can they better get involved and also show support for property growth in township areas?
Look, I think it has been exciting. I mean, to see the government coming in. We are seeing in terms of especially, regulation, red tape around, when you construct, even when you renovate. There has always been the difficulty and the frustration that comes, from the developers as they, even if not the developer, even you as an individual trying to maybe, create a business through your own property. Now, to legalize that has been such a headache. And the bottleneck has really been from the local municipalities because I think one of the issues that we have seen the recent years is that you would have then people that are working in these local municipalities. Some of them don't even understand, the landscape around property within the communities in which they serve, and that necessitated obviously the whole process of a lot of engagement that has happened, and I can see that it's improving, which means as well now financing is also starting to flow, where now whether you are a small scale kind of a developer, even just a normal person who has a property but wants to develop it, we now have a better kind of a sort of appetite from financial institutions. We obviously help our clients a lot around banks. We are seeing banks also financing those kind of developments. So there's still a long way to go, but I wouldn't say it's still the same frustrations that we saw 5 years, even 10 years back, so it's improving as we go, but it definitely requires a lot of, especially from a local government perspective, we need to see them coming on board and really start to come in so that people can legalize, because at the end of the day, when one wants to legalize and then they think about the red tape, they think about the cost, then that's where we see the illegal structures coming through, which also obviously poses a lot of danger to our communities.
Right. Such valuable information. And I think also what's beautiful to note, Gavin, is how those opportunities within, financial borrowers, as it were, the banks and other financial institutions are opening up space for women to participate economically in the property sector. But lending options for women are available, opportunities are available, which is so wonderful. I wish we had another hour because, man, I have so many questions, but we've got to wrap it up here. Thank you so much, Gavin. Where can we find you if we are looking to expand our portfolios and really become seasoned property investors? Where can we talk to you?
So they can just put me up a WhatsApp or a call on 074 412 7614, 074 412 7614, or they can simply go to our website www.gavshaw.co.za. On social, it's Gavin Kabela. I'm very active. TikTok on Thursdays, 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. I always talk property, so they can tune into TikTok. I'm available there every Thursday at 8 o'clock in the evening.
Okay. TikTok sounds like a great idea. I mean, we're all there, so let's make sure we connect there. Gavin is of course based in South Africa, so should you wish to connect with him, you are most welcome to. Coming through in his capacity as a financial advisor and a property investment strategist. It's time for sports.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
It's a very good afternoon from the sports desk. I am Mosibu Dimakura with the latest sports news at the Sawa. So Niger kept their qualifying hopes flickering with a disciplined 1-0 win away to Zambia on Sunday as the informed forward Daniel Sosa struck early in the second half to settle the Group E finale. So the result caps an efficient away display by the Niger side, who absorbed long spells of pressure before landing the decisive blow. So Zambia, meanwhile, already out of contention before kickoff, pushed for a positive send-off but ran into a resolute backline and an inspired Mamadou Janji goal. So victory confirms Niger as the Group E runner-ups and leaves them waiting on other results to learn whether they will get to play in the playoffs, where there is still a chance of an African nation qualifying for next year's FIFA World Cup. Meanwhile, on to some, still staying with football news, Bafana having played to a goalless draw against Zimbabwe on Friday at the Moses Mabhida Stadium in a World Cup qualifier out in the KwaZulu-Natal province. That goalless draw basically against Bafana was one of the polished performances yet in this campaign by Zimbabwe, and Marshall Monetsi, the vice captain of the side, says they can build from it as they continue their preparations for the upcoming Africa Cup of Nations tournament.
I think even for me, I have a teammate who's playing for Nigeria. So as soon as he saw that South Africa was deducted 3 points, he was on my case in training. So I think it's exciting for African football because I think everybody was watching to see how the group is going to be like. But obviously South Africa have really been doing well. I think if you check their record since the last AFCON, they've been progressing very well. And I think for us, we are just here to enjoy the game and build up for AFCON. So I think for the other teams, they have the pressure. So I'm also looking forward to see what's going to happen in the last game.
Of course, there's the likes of South Africa, Nigeria, as well as Benin still vying for that ticket to the FIFA World Cup co-hosted by the USA, Canada, as well as Mexico. And of course, Munetsi is looking forward to see exactly what will happen in this match between South Africa as well as Rwanda tomorrow, and then Nigeria facing off with Benin. With Benin, of course, qualifying if they manage to beat Nigeria in that match.
I think obviously when you play for Zimbabwe, also with the players we have, I think you'd always want to win a game of football. But obviously the context was very different for us. We had nothing to really play for beside our pride. But we know that South Africa, we're trying to fight to qualify. But obviously, as competitors, you'd want to show your A game when you play in a stadium like this. And most of us, I think we played in South Africa. We know how the atmosphere is. And also, we have to remember that this is our direct opponents when it comes to the AFCON. So I think it's a game we could not have lost, but it's a game also we have to learn and also take, I think, some learning things that we can take for the AFCON.
Further field now, Memphis Depay broke the record for most assists for a Netherlands side and extended their own goal-scoring record in his side's comfortable World Cup qualifying win over Finland. The 31-year-old forward picked up Aston Villa's Doniel Malen to fire the opener from outside the box. And Depay then swung in a free kick from Liverpool captain Virgil van Dijk, headed into to make it 2-0. Now that was his 35th assistant in the orange jersey, taking him above Wesley Sneijder's old record. Now that was Depay's 54th goal for his country, stretching the national record that he broke just last month. Now Liverpool forward Cody Gakpo lashed in a late fourth goal following a pass from Tottenham Hotspur Xavi Simons. After 6 games played, the Netherlands top Group G with about 3 points from Poland, who beat Lithuania by 2-0 on Sunday, with Robert Lewandowski on target in that game. And finally, in tennis news, the Paris Masters debuts in its new La Défense Arena home later on this month, with a vast showpiece court, second only in size terms to the US Open Arthur Ashe Stadium on the current global circuit. Now, tournament director Cedric Paulini told the media it showed that the indoor event was evolving and that a new venue in the western suburbs of the French capital would follow and would also allow for innovations such as this to continue for the foreseeable future. Now, the new base will be familiar to television viewers as the venue for the swimming events at the Olympics last year. It is also the home of French top 14 rugby side Racing 9-2 and regularly hosts the world's best-known performing artists. Now, the ATP Masters 1000 event will run from the 27th of October to the 9th of November. Well, for any sports stories you'd like to share with us, remember to send us an email. That's to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11714 4459. It's 14:37 p.m. Central African time. I'm back with the final sports update for the show in the next hour. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Mosito Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective. Hi there. Do you want to elevate your business and give it a voice in South Africa and Africa as a whole? Well, in that case, let Channel Africa make this a possibility. Channel Africa is willing to advertise your business for as little as 30,000 rands or $1,719.18. To get access to these great rates, send all requests to mukwena@SABC. That's MOKOENATA@SABC. Channel Africa, the African Perspective.
Well, here we are coming in at 14:38, okay, and we are fast approaching 2 p.m. But before we do, let's cross in with economics news, find out what the latest is with Tebogo Ligege.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Mmatsheko. Good afternoon. French broadcasting group Canal Plus says it is planning a secondary listing on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, JSE, after it acquired South African broadcaster MultiChoice. Canal Plus closed the $2 billion MultiChoice acquisition in September, adding MultiChoice's extensive African subscriber base to its portfolio, with a combined entity serving more than 40 million subscribers across nearly 70 countries. It will begin the listing process in Johannesburg once MultiChoice has been delisted from the JSE. The delisting is expected to be completed before the year end. Women remain underrepresented in senior management and on company boards across the G20 nations, despite accounting for at least 40% of global GDP. This was revealed at the market opening ceremony at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange in South Africa to mark the official launch of the Women 20 Summit. It is a G20 engagement group dedicated to advancing women's economic participation across the globe. Head of delegation of W20 South Africa, Professor Nania Bola Müller, says more needs to be done for women's financial inclusion and enterprise.
We have a while to go. I mean, it is our our purpose as Women 20 to mainstream gender equality and women's economic empowerment into G20 processes. But I think that there's been a bit of a step back, and we're wondering where we're going from here into 2026, whether gender equality is going to be on the agenda again.
South Africa's Aspen Pharmacare has secured regulatory approval to market Eli Lilly's blockbuster diabetes and obesity drug Mounjaro for chronic weight management in the country. Sales agent for Lilly, Aspen, will launch Mounjaro for weight management. The approval by the South African Health Products Regulatory Authority positions Aspen to reach an estimation of $100 billion by the end of the decade. The company has been betting on Mounjaro's nearing launch to compete against Novo Nordisk's, and this move allows Aspen to pose business threat to the Danish drug maker, which debuted in South Africa in August. In other news, the International Maritime Organization, IMO, will meet this week to formally decide whether to impose a carbon emissions price on global shipping, a move supported by an EU-led bloc including Britain, China and Japan, but strongly opposed by the US. The IMO struck a preliminary deal to charge the global shipping industry for emissions in April after the US pulled out of associated talks, prompting Washington to threaten reciprocal measures against any fees charged on US ships. And the April deal is now tabled for adoption at a meeting of the IMO's Environmental Committee scheduled for October 14th until the 17th, which is expected to include the US. JP Morgan Chase launched a $1.5 trillion plan to facilitate, finance and invest in industries deemed critical to the U.S. national security and economic resilience, including defense, energy and advanced manufacturing. As part of the 10-year initiative, the largest U.S. lender also plans to hire more bankers to invest up to $10 billion into U.S. companies through direct equity and venture capital investments, focusing on fast-growing businesses and key manufacturers. The announcement comes as U.S. President Donald Trump's administration looks to modernize infrastructure and reduce dependence on foreign supply chains. Now let's shift our focus to financial indicators at this hour. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,461 naira. Botswana, the dollar is 13 pula 11. Kenya 127 shilling 736. Zambia 22 kwacha 52. BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is at 5 real 19. In Russia 81 rubles 42. India 88 rupees 75. China 71.14. South Africa 17 rand 48 cents. $1 is 74 pence to the British pound and 85 to the euro. Commodities, gold is at $4,077, platinum at $1,651 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil is at $63.72 a barrel. That's all for now. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or you can call us on +27 117144459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Chanduko Ligege.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Let the Upside transport you from Cape to Cairo every weekday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time.
Mix Vibration sur Channel Africa.
Qu'est-ce qui vous a amené à dire ça? Est-ce que vous avez observé un certain nombre d'événements dans la vie? Est-ce que c'était par rapport à une expérience? Est-ce que vous avez rencontré des choses qui vous ont dit il faut de la patience, comme ça les choses vont venir au bon moment et le bon Dieu pourra peut-être me visiter?
Oui, c'était justement un conseil que le Seigneur m'avait inspiré pour donner à son peuple, parce qu'il y a la plupart des gens, pendant que Dieu bénit les autres, ils pensent que Dieu les a oubliés, et pendant que Dieu ouvre pour les autres, ils pensent que peut-être Dieu n'a pas pu écouter leurs prières. Alors, ce n'est pas le cas. Alors, Dieu bénit tout un chacun de nous avec son temps. Donc, le temps de Dieu est toujours le meilleur dans la vie de tout un chacun de nous.
Mix Vibration, tous les dimanches de 18h à 19h, temps universel.
The Upside, live and real.
They call me Are you gone? Are you gone? Are you gone? Are you gone? Are you? Are you gone? Are you? The person tell me say I go fall for a woman like you. I go say in papa, mama, brother, sister, thunder, fire, all of them. Because this kind thing where you the do. I been no say you go fit move me. She not only me, but you like overdo. She sweet you as she told me to move. That like the woman that I like. I feel no make everything alright. But if there's anything I can do, I saw we do, I'm with my mind. All of me, Joe, don't be shy. You know you sweet my antenna. You must meet my antenna, my antenna, my antenna. Now you gon' let me be your one and only. Baby, oh baby. Now you gon' let me be your one and only. Baby, ooh baby. Couple goes not small. When we start our love, Rihanna go say she want her like this, oh. Couple goes not small. When we start our love, Beyonce go say she want her like this, oh. Hey, I just want to know if there be any chance for me and you. I just want to know, no, if there be any chance for me and you. Are you gon' let me be your one and only? Baby, oh baby. Are you gon' let me be your one and only? One and only, baby. I like the woman that I like. I feel no make everything alright. But if there's anything I can do, I saw we do, I'm with my mind. All of me, Joe, don't be shy. You know you sweet my antenna. You must meet my antenna, my antenna, my antenna. Are you gon' let me be your one and only? Baby, oh baby. Are you gon'
Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa.
What if God didn't? What if I had never been blessed beyond limits? What if I was always depressed and not living? What if Squatter Campus Kalen was unwritten and all I ever had to reflect was Bob Dylan? Josiah just decided to rest and not finish. Sia wasn't up to the test and not winning. Shabalala said in his head he can't hit it, but for it, it's all relative-ish. What if Tyler just decided to wait? What if Keenan couldn't stomach the hate? What if Booger Love had never been saved and still in love with the game? What if Eminem had stuck with the 9 to 5? If Chester wasn't playing in 95? If Philemon, my singer, was called offside and Doctor was injured, would you have ever seen Barker fly? And Brenda Fussy wasn't obsessed with show business, and all the Winnie wanted was checks and more children. And Costa said, you niggas correct, we not women. And Jabba didn't fuck on your vest, they can't siblings and son. I stand steady on business and everything that I've done. I can't imagine my Diva not being a prodigal son. I left Komani with vision and now I'm back as a young. What if?
Mama, and where would I be now? Mapande kwako, wemdaga mama, and where would I be now?
What if I was young and DJ and not chief? What if I was never prepared to love me? What if I was thinking of death and not peace? Cold heart, living with fear and can't breathe. What if I didn't move with the north side? If I had a problem being cool with a horse ride? I couldn't do what we all like if I never knew Ngulungu na Madoswam. And know our time was it missed me. I'm focused on my daughters and my son and they miss me. If Zuma wasn't part of the big three, if Solomon Mahlangu had quick feet, if Tito ain't decided to gift me a gift, you gotta think about it, what if everybody tried to forgive? If I had not inspired a generation of writers to celebrate Amalanga Bafwit. Mama, into yakuthi where would I be now?
10 minutes to go till it's 3 p.m. A double play with Techno's Gone Gone and Younger Chief with What If, the title of the song. Thank you for being here. Thanks for tuning in. The Upside with Mmatsheko Mosito until 4 p.m. in Central African Time. I'm looking forward to conversing with Amakamata. She is a South African actress, but in happy new developments, she is moving from being a film star to being the face of an amazing brand. Okay, she has joined one of the world's most recognizable beauty brands as the new face, and she's going to tell us about it because she is representing sub-Saharan Africa. And we know how captivating she is as an actress. If you don't remember her, this might ring a bell. She's been in Blood and Water, which was on Netflix. She's been in a series called Gomorrah that was on the DSTV platform, and many other acting places and spaces. And she has expressed her excitement about this brand new chapter and describes it as a combination of months and months and months of preparation, and she really has found so much purpose in this work. So we're going to catch up with her in the final hour of the show just after 3 p.m. and talk to her about this journey. Talk to her about matters around beauty, you know, especially for Black African women. What does that look like? How is she going to represent differently? And what does this achievement also mean for her personally? Because she is, listen, incredibly excited about it. Let's take a quick break. When we return, it's time for What Caught Your Eye.
Call us on +27 63 406 9126.
I can see my whole world changing.
And contribute to the conversation. Ahoy, matey!
Captain here to help, right, boys?
Set sail with us on a digital voyage like no other. Channel Africa has a treasure trove of awesomeness. That is our website and social media pages.
Tell me, why are you here?
We want you to be part of our adventure.
The winds are changing, Captain. And this time...
Imagine a world where curiosity knows no bounds, where entertainment meets enlightenment, and where every click leads to the African perspective. Visit us on our website, www.channelafrica.co.za, or on Instagram, or on X at Channel Africa One. Go on, like us on Facebook at Channel Africa One. So, spread the word. Tell a friend that Channel Africa's online variety is what they need on the web. Channel Africa, the African perspective. The Upside with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito, bringing Africa's voices to the world. On Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Lots of very exciting but also tense movements happening on the African continent. And what caught my eye this afternoon is, of course, the fact that Cameroon is counting votes, okay, and very quickly counting the votes as the world's oldest president seeks to extend his rule. Okay, I had to mention that because, I mean, that will always be quite big in the discussion around, you know, Cameroonians and them seeking change, and what does that change look like? I beg your pardon, as you and I speak. Excuse me, you may have heard Pamela Kumba, who is from our French service, talking to Onele Nzinzi in the news bulletin about, she's in Cameroon, by the way, about what is currently happening with the votes. What do they currently look like for the presidential election that took place yesterday, in which incumbent Paul Biya, the world's oldest ruler, How old is he? He's 90. He's 92. He's 92, and there's this wide expectation that he needs to now step down. That it is time now. At 92, maybe you need to just be at home with your grandkids, but we'll see what happens. Okay, there is also expectations that his rule could be extended, because there is a whole 43-year gripe about his power, despite the fact that there are other contenders in the selection, other 12 contenders in the selection, one of them being a woman that could possibly do a better job. Okay, his opponents include former government spokesperson Isa Triroma. I beg your pardon, Chiroma is his surname. He is 76, which has galvanized a large crowd demanding an end to Bia's long tenure and drawing endorsements from many platforms and opposition parties, as well as civil groups around the country. So we are watching the story closely. Wonderful to see that our very own Pamela Kumba is in Cameroon, and she's covering the story for our French service that you can catch later on. I'm sure there'll be lots of news. If you are obviously French speaking, you'd be able to get a lot of updates from the French desk as they have a conversation on Vue d'Afrique, which comes through a little bit later on with Joël Moutiba. But listen, for all intents and purposes, this is what's happening right now. There is, you know what I find interesting is that there's mention of the other gentleman, Chiroma, who's 76. So it's almost like anyone but Paul Biya, please, even if you're maybe 89, it's okay. You can take over, because we cannot have one individual run the country for 43 years. I mean, have you ever? Over 4 decades of rulership. But I think it's just interesting that this has become, that this is the norm. You know, this is the norm in African countries for people to take up office for 3, 4, 5 decades of them just running on in public office and not even really making a real difference, and giving opportunities to younger, more vibrant, more impressionable voices that are ready to take politics and make a change, you know, and see the country progress. So listen, maybe even if you're 89.9 years old, you will be considered, as long as it's not Port Biya, you see, because it's been a long time coming. Oh my goodness, we are watching this one with breath that is bated. And I think I, for one, would be incredibly excited for the Cameroonians, because I know what it feels like to see change in your lifetime, you know, where there is a different energy, where it even smells different, because the opportunities that come with that, you know, the doors that come with that, the veils that are lifted politically and at policy level that come with that are so renewing to a nation. I cannot even put it into words. So I would be very excited to see you know, the feminine take over office. I think that would be wonderful and novel for the Cameroonians. So we'll see. Veteran ruler Paul Biya steps down in his 92 years, or is it going to be Chiroma who's going to be taking over? What are we going to see when it comes to Cameroon and the upliftment of all these issues and the economic stagnation that we're currently seeing in this country? Who do you think is going to take it? We would love to hear from you. We're looking at 10 days until we know for certainty, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah, let me know what your thoughts are if you happen to catch this broadcast live. As per, we'd love to hear from you. Twitter is open at Channel Africa 1. Use the hashtag The Upside so that we can track the conversation effectively with you. So you can use the hashtag's The Upside. You can hashtag Cameroon Election 2025, and then we'll be able to pick up your conversation much better in that manner. Facebook also available for you. Just search for Channel Africa. In fact, it's Channel Africa or Channel Africa 1 on all the platforms. Think of a platform, we are possibly there, and we would love to hear from you. Do you think it is time up? Thank you, Paul Biya. Take your respective seat as an old man and just take care of yourself? Or do you think it is time? It is time right now for change that not only will reverberate through Cameroon, but possibly inspire other places and spaces to do the same. I think of rulers like Mr. Nyerere, who stepped down at a very young age, which is something that's quite unheard of on the African continent. But anyway, let's find out what the latest news are. Onele Nzinzi standing by with some news.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Mmatsheko. Looking at your top stories, Madagascar president believed to have left the country, and the U.S. President Donald Trump is at the Israeli parliament. Your latest news. Greetings to our listeners. Madagascar's President Andry Rajoelina is no longer believed to be in the country after being flown out of the African nation on a French military aircraft. This is following a deal with President Emmanuel Macron, a report made by French radio RFI today. Rajoelina was increasingly isolated after losing the support of a key army unit that joined thousands of youths protesting against corruption and poverty and demanding his resignation. Demonstrations in the former French colony erupted on the 25th of September over water and power shortages, but have quickly escalated into an uprising. Rajoelina is expected to address the nation this evening. This is an announcement made by his office on Facebook today. Vote counting continues in Cameroon following yesterday's presidential election. Incumbent Paul Biya is widely expected to extend his 43-year grip on power. Biya is the world's oldest ruler at the age of 92. His opponents include 76-year-old Issa Chiroma, who is a former government spokesperson. Head of our French desk, Pamela Kumba, is in Cameroon.
At least 4 of 10 provinces have been counted, but it is strictly forbidden to speculate on any figures. Yet we can see some of the figures coming out, who's leading and who's not, who's second, who's third, but the law forbids everybody to just speculate. We just have to wait for the ELECAM, which is the Electoral Commission, to give the first preliminary result. In the city, everything is back to normal. People they don't have much expectation.
Evidence leaders in the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in South Africa have submitted the application that hearings between the 13th to the 17th of October be heard in camera. They say this is due to the sensitivity of the witness statements that will be submitted before the commission. The Madlanga Commission in South Africa is looking into criminality, corruption, and political interference in the criminal justice system. They further submit that hearings from the 20th to the 22nd of this month be anonymized. This means that witnesses will testify remotely with only an audio. Sibahle Mota explains.
Evidence leaders in the Madlanga Commission have cited 4 reasons for witness testimony to be heard in camera without the presence of the media and the public. This includes the safety of witnesses, the protection of ongoing criminal investigations, the protection of investigative methods and operational security, and the protection of informants and confidential sources. Proceedings in the Madlanga Commission were adjourned on Monday after Media 24 and Daily Maverick opposed the application by the evidence leaders to hear witness testimony in camera.
South Africa's Premier of the Limpopo province, Poppy Ramathuba, says a preliminary report on the cause of the bus crash that claimed 42 lives on the N1 near Louis-Trichardt will be released within 48 hours. The vehicle overturned and rolled down an embankment after the bus driver allegedly lost control yesterday. The bus was traveling from Gqeberha in the Eastern Cape province en route to Zimbabwe and Malawi. Ramathuba says fatigue may have been the cause of the incident.
Officials from the traffic department, we've got RTMC, they've already started with the work of investigating, and they've reassured us that within the next next 48 hours, they will be giving us preliminary report. The fact that the bus was traveling from PE up towards Harare, you can't rule out a fatigue. You can't rule it out. Even probably maybe if you were two drivers, you were exchanging, but you can't rule out the fatigue.
And lastly, U.S. President Donald Trump is at the Israeli parliament where he is giving a speech to the assembly. After his address, he will also meet family members of Israeli hostages. Addressing the parliament, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu thanked Trump for his support of Israel.
No American president has ever done more for Israel. Mr. President, today we welcome you here to thank you for your pivotal leadership in putting forward a proposal that got the backing of almost the entire world.
Recapping on your top stories, Madagascar's President Andry Rajoelina is no longer believed to be in the country after being flown out of the African nation on a French military aircraft. Channel Africa News, I am Onele Tsinzi.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Minutes into 3 p.m. in Central African Time. The Upside with you until 4 p.m. this afternoon. It is going to be a very exciting hour because we love to celebrate. We love to celebrate a good African success story in all its facets, colors and textures and temperatures. Today we are speaking to actress Amakamata. She is fresh off a plane from Paris, and we're going to talk about how she was strutting her ways on the runway, for the L'Oreal annual fashion show, but also celebrating her remarkable her remarkable announcement around joining the world's most remarkable beauty brand, L'Oreal, and she represents Sub-Saharan Africa. So she's going to be joining me, and we're going to talk about the work. We're going to talk about her as an actress, but also how her work and how she has just presented herself with her talent has also opened doors for other wonderful international opportunities like the one that I just mentioned. And this has been months and months of preparation, as she's mentioned, that she's been working on this with a lot of purpose. So we're going to talk about what this means for her career, what it means for Black beauty overall, for women on the African continent, and yes, and really just celebrate this moment. So stick around as we talk about this. If you don't know who Amakamata is, listen, you better Google her, baby. Google her right now. But let me give you insight, okay? She's an actress. She's been part of shows like Blood and Water that you can find on Netflix, Gomorrah, which was a very popular series here in South Africa. She has really just expressed herself through her acting work and immersed herself in the roles that she plays. But we're going to talk about beauty, okay? We're going to talk about how acting meets beauty in this next segment. We're 8 minutes into 3.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and the whole country affected by gender-based violence. For all your favorite SABC radio stations, call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. Africa. It's time to plug into the heartbeat of the continent. Tune in to Channel Africa, your go-to radio station that broadcasts in 5 different languages.
L'Afrique du Sud célèbre la journée nationale du
Kabla hujaitwa kwa jina
or more of our forests have been destroyed.
Partido Africano da Independência da Guiné.
See, Channel Africa represents every corner of this amazing land. From Lagos to Cape Town, Nairobi to Dakar, we've got you covered with the freshest news, music, and cultures. So, turn up the volume, feel the rhythm. And join the conversation. Channel Africa, the African perspective. If it's news and current affairs, leading opinions, and thought leaders that get your groove, this is your home, The Upside.
Kushoti keli nika mahora mabili kamele sifuben sakho angoba unempatho kunhlanga zimuka noma uyadali ngicela itelepota dali enhlizweni yakho zofika maduze phakathi kwamabili u12 akulaleki ngathi ngiphuza ikoflela the Jimmy choose on True Scott Queen and now she's on Jengen. You say your ex used to play you like a good song. Mina ngile ngomo iphinda ubusuku bonke jukebox. Mina ngile mbali wayithola kumdali. Ejabule sihlozi nabasali. Isikhali isidalele thina baby yangali. Mhlambe sona sinekani kodwa mina nawe sihlezi sineplani. Bengisahlanganisa lo cash ngizama ukuthola i-private jet ngizobona ukushare. Bayadela laba
Would you look at that? 15:15 on the clock. That angel number tells us that this conversation is going to be super wholesome. That's what it tells me. Nomfundo Mo with Black Diamond coming through with Ndizamshini. Thank you for tuning in and for choosing the Upside to be your weekday companion. Every single weekday between 1 and 4, it really is about opening gateways to Africa, travel spaces, investment opportunities. We're talking about the township economy when we look at property earlier. So there's really lots to talk about. And speaking about our conversations, today is a celebration. In this final hour of the show, we really are going to be celebrating an amazing actress, but also how the space of acting has also opened other pathways for exploration, for conversations around beauty. As a public figure, I think that's so important, to be just a shining example. Listen, whether she likes it or not, okay, she's gorgeous, and there are other young Black women that are looking up to the work that she does. Her name is Kamata. She is a South African television superstar, a film star. Think of shows like Blood and Water on Netflix. Think about a very popular on South African television, a very popular series, I beg your pardon, on South African television, Gomorrah. And and I know you know exactly who I'm talking about now. But she's fresh off a plane from Paris because she was also strutting her ways through the runways for the L'Oreal annual fashion show, and she literally looks like she just woke up like this. I woke up like this. I woke up like this. Hello, Amma.
Hi. Oh my gosh, what a stunning introduction.
You are deserving. You are so deserving.
Thank you so much.
So wonderful to meet you in person. We've always ever seen you on television. Not as Amma, but as other people.
As someone else.
Playing characters.
Yeah.
Because that is your job, to not play Amma, but to play characters.
To be someone different, to channel different energies.
Thank you. That are feminine, that are representative of young women. How are you doing? So wonderful to see you.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so good. I feel there's just such a good energy and feel in this room. And I think I'm picking up on that. But other than anything, I'm really excited. Really tired from Paris.
Yes.
That was really just an insane experience. But I feel good.
Wow, congratulations. We're going to talk about the L'Oreal partnership.
Yes.
And I think also just the conversation around, Black beauty and how we find ourselves in these wonderful global platforms where we can really shape a different narrative about what it means to use the products, but also what it means to have a beautiful Black woman as the face and representing the brand, as it were. But let's talk about your career. I mean, getting into acting is not an easy thing, I think, for women especially. Talk to us about how you got to make it at this level and what it takes, to get here. Because sometimes it seems like an overnight success, but that takes a good, 10 years to build?
Yeah, they do say an overnight success is usually a 10-year in making.
Yes.
My career, well, in terms of acting, I started acting at a really young age, mostly participating in school productions. My first thing that I did was Snow White when I was 9 years old, and it was quite controversial at the time because obviously I was this little Black girl playing Snow White, and the kids were like, oh, so what are we gonna name her, Snow Black? But they were just sour that they didn't get the role, so I understood the shade. But luckily I just had a drama teacher who really believed in me and who saw something in me that he just wanted to nurture. Shout out to you, Mr. Simpson. And even at a young age, I remember we did the production, and for the award evening, you get the prize giving and whatever.
Right.
I was expecting to get Best Actress. I don't know, guys. I've just always had this thing where I'm just okay, I'm going to get the Best Actress. It's whatever. And I didn't. So he was calling out the names and I didn't get Best Actress. And I was like, oh, awkward. But then he wrapped up all the awards. And then he said, this last award I've actually created for this young girl. And she did so amazing on this project, and I really believe that she's going to go on and do amazing things. He even said, I wouldn't be surprised if she wins an Oscar one day, but I want to be the first person to honor her. And the whole room just went, Ama, Ama, Ama. And literally at 9 years old, I was like, okay, cool, I know what I want to do. I think he took it from just being a thing that I enjoyed, and a way of expressing myself at that age to actually seeing that this could be a career and something that I should seriously consider. And I think that moment also made my parents take me a bit more serious as well.
Right, because it is a career.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the time, you know, and I don't blame the parents
Yeah,
because
because they don't see it. They're just like...
Yeah, they're from a different generation. So
Yeah.
they just see this as a remedial activity for autistic
Yeah,
children.
exactly.
Not as something that can really change the world.
Yes.
You know, which is what you have been a fine example for. Amakamata joins me in studio and we're having a conversation about acting, about the spaces that Black women like herself are occupying. We're also celebrating the fact that she has joined officially, might I add, joined the world's most recognizable beauty brands as one of the new faces, L'Oréal Paris. We're going to talk about that after the break.
Broadcasting in 5 different languages, connecting the continent. This is Channel Africa, the African perspective. Africa, meet Abedi.
Yeah, that's me.
Abedi is a music lover through and through.
I really love African music.
He's got a taste for all kinds of tunes and spends his days listening to Channel Africa. Guess what? He didn't know.
Okay.
Channel Africa wants to help Abedi and all music lovers everywhere to discover even more incredible music. That is why Channel Africa is calling on all African musicians to submit their music. Musicians, remember to give us all your relevant information. Make your submissions at music@channelafrica.co.za. Submissions are your chance to be heard on radio. But sadly, they do not guarantee that you'll be playlisted. All submissions will be carefully reviewed to see if they meet our station's requirement. Channel Africa, the African perspective. This is The Upside for the best African vibes, groundbreaking content.
21 minutes past 3 p.m. I beg your pardon. Thank you very much for staying with us on Channel Africa. We are live on satellite across the African region, Channel PAS10. Otherwise, Southern Africa, catch us on the DSTV audio bouquet. If you want to listen to us there, we're on Channel 802. In studio with South African television and film star Amakamata, we are celebrating her beauty. We are celebrating the fact that she has joined L'Oréal Paris for the Sub-Saharan Africa wing as the face of the brand. She's an actress. Think Blood and Water, think Gomorrah. If you're a South African, you know exactly what I'm talking about, okay? She was, what was your character's name? Bouhle.
Yes.
On the show. And it was
She was fun.
She was fun and she was moody. She was like a girl.
No, she was literally a little like brat, but I love that. I was like, please give me that.
Very relatable.
You know?
In many ways. Let's talk about, just your acting career.
Yeah.
And how it's, because I always wanted to say this to you. I admire how you, and I don't think it's an act. I don't think it's a performance. I think that's just who you are. That you've come into the space with so much integrity and you're an actress and you are staying out of the controversies of this business because it's so easy to get sucked in when you want to stay relevant, when you want to be seen, you know, to do all sorts of things. Talk to us about how you've been able to kind of stay centered, stay, I'm an actress and this is what I do. Thank you very much, full stop.
I think it's just knowing what you want. I think in anything, right, when you approach anything in life, I feel like it's just knowing what you want and having a plan for your life. So when everything happened, when everything unfolded, I kind of had already known that this is what I want to do and this is the kind of career that I want to have.
Right.
And I think what that has allowed me to do then is really discern and be able to make decisions on what shouldn't be happening. Like I probably shouldn't do this because then I won't get this. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I think it is a lot of pressure, especially with social media, with Twitter, with trends, to feel like, am I current, am I keeping up? But I feel like what I found and what is so beautiful also with like the partnership with L'Oreal is authenticity. I think just being yourself and trusting that the people that you're meant to work with will find you. It's like I didn't have to go outside of myself. I didn't have to perform. I didn't have to be anything other than Ama for people like L'Oreal to find me, to say we want to align ourselves with you. And this is a global brand, by the way.
Yes.
So I think it's just knowing who you are and just being in alignment with that, honestly. Sticking to the plan.
Sticking to the plan,
Yeah.
very important.
Yeah.
And I think once you've made the decision, it becomes so much easier.
It
doesn't
does. It
Yeah.
does. I think it's people saying no is not difficult if you know what you want.
Yes.
It's not. It's like an easy thing because it's like this actually doesn't serve the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Because every little decision counts. Literally every little choice that you make, every little brand that you partner with. I mean, I don't want to like make it. It's not a train smash, but I think it does kind of because people are watching, and you never know who's watching. So you kind of just have to have a strategy and a plan and knowing what you want to do and stick to that.
Right. Listen, I hope you were listening to that. That is some solid advice. Okay. Talk about just a branding masterclass, if you will. Let's talk about how this happened.
Yeah.
How did L'Oreal find you?
That's a good question.
And how did this happen? Because this is huge.
That is actually that is a good question. I don't know how they found me. Maybe Instagram. I don't know, or they watched Blood and Water. I don't know, but it was basically just an approach to say, listen, would Amma be interested in doing something like this? And it was a really long process. I actually found out today how that process works, because they reached out last year in May to say, would Amma be interested in this? And I said, of course, let's just have a conversation. Let's see if we're aligned.
Yes.
That's also one thing I always try to be very honest with brands. Like, what are your values? What is it that you're trying to achieve, basically? And how can my platform or my brand help amplify that? And are we aligned? Do we believe in the same things? Are we trying to achieve the same goals? And I think that makes it much easier just to work in that kind of environment. But they reached out last year in May, and I think only December they came back and said, oh, okay, cool. We would really like to work with her. I don't know what was happening in between, like how they, picked me and said, we want her. I actually had a conversation with Aya. I don't know if I'm allowed to like share, what the process was.
I'm sure you are a little bit.
Can I? Oh, she said no. They're like, no. So yeah, but it's just it's a process. Okay. They have their own, like, I guess, what is it called when when you like not scanning, what is it called? Like when you looking through people?
Vetting.
I guess so.
Yeah. They had to vet. And also they also were looking for that alignment that you're speaking about.
Exactly.
But let's talk about what that looks like for you. What does the space of beauty, especially when we look at the global scale, look like? Because when I found out that you are part of the L'Oreal brand as a new face, I started to think about other black women that have done phenomenal things. But I'm not thinking actress, I'm thinking models.
Yeah.
Naomi Campbell.
Yeah.
Tyra Banks.
Yeah.
Alec Weck from
Yeah.
Sudan. I'm thinking Joël Kayembe.
Yeah.
Who was living in South Africa, born in the DRC.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of
stunning. She did the Sprite ad, yeah.
Oh, she's absolutely
icon. I love her.
Oh, she's shut the front door.
Love you, Joelle.
Absolutely gorgeous. Yes. So women like that have represented and they've come through with their dark, gorgeous, black skin hues, and it really represented blackness in such an epic way. So when you think about that, what is beauty and the representation thereof mean to you right now?
I think it's really about celebrating our uniqueness as women. We don't all look the same. There's things about us that make us different. And I think for a very long time, especially in the beauty industry, it was very dominated by a Western point of view, and really looking towards that. And what I also feel like L'Oreal has done really well is kind of recognize that, okay, cool, we want to, come into Africa. How do we speak to the market? Who's someone that speaks to the people, and really being intentional about picking someone locally that will speak to, because it's, we can have like the international stars, but someone from like the Eastern Cape or where I'm from, they really want to relate to someone that they know. But I think it's just being unique and being yourself. I think there's nothing more beautiful than being yourself in whatever way you want to like show up. But it is that,
and
literally.
Taking care of yourself.
Yeah, that too.
Because I can tell, girl, it's not just about the creams and the makeup.
Yeah.
You really are taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
Emotionally, spiritually, what you put in your mouth, all of that. And I would like for us to talk about that in a moment. I would love for us to get into that, which we are going to. If you happen to catch this broadcast live and there's a comment that you'd like to drop, you can watch the show. Okay, we're live on Facebook. We're live on our YouTube page, so you can drop us a line there. We're also, I think we're live on TikTok as well. But otherwise, you're welcome to continue to have a conversation with us on any of our social media platforms. Just search for Channel Africa everywhere and you'll be able to find us. We're going to cross to the sports desk in just a moment to find out what the latest is.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
It's a very good afternoon from the sports desk. I am Mosibu Dimakura with your latest sports news at the Sawa. So we'll start here. Lesotho coach Leslie Notsi says his side are determined to end the FIFA World Cup qualifying campaign on a high when they host Zimbabwe tonight. So Dikwena are officially eliminated from contention for the global showpiece following a 2-1 defeat to Nigeria at the Peter Mokaba Stadium in Polokwane in South Africa's Limpopo province last week Friday. Notsi's side were earlier handed a lifeline when FIFA awarded them 3 points from Bafana Bafana, but with qualification now out of reach, he remains intent of finishing strong tonight against Zimbabwe.
The big guns are now pushing each other, and which I think all of us had expected that. But for us, the interest truly is not on how they do up there. The focus is still for us to see to it that we end this campaign on a positive note. That's truly what we're looking at.
Meanwhile, Notsi also expressed his pride in his team's overall campaign, highlighting the successful integration of several young players into the senior setup.
The future of Dikwena looks good. Youngsters, there are youngsters that we introduced during the COSAFA Cup. The COSAFA competition is our regional cup competition. And the youngster that we brought in there, in a very crucial, critical game. And for us, it's a positive direction that we took. So I would say for those youngsters, the team looks in good hands with them for going forward.
We'll stay with football news. Nigeria kept their qualifying hopes flickering with a disciplined 1-0 win away from home to Zambia on Sunday as the informed forward Daniel Soha struck early in the second half to settle the Group E finale. Now the result caps an efficient away display for the Niger side, who absorbed long spells of pressure before landing the decisive blow. Zambia, already out of contention before kickoff, pushed for a positive send-off, but ran into a resolute backline, and also that was inspired by Mahamadou Tanji in goal. So victory confirms Niger as Group E runner-ups and leaves them still waiting on other results to learn whether they will play in the playoffs in a month's time from now. On to some tennis news now. The Paris Masters debuts in its new La Défense Arena home this month with the vast showpiece court, second only in size in terms, and when you compare it, should I say, to the US Open Arthur Ashe Stadium on the current global circuit. Now, tournament director Cedric Paolini said it showed that the indoor event was evolving and that a new venue in the western suburbs of the French capital would allow for innovation such as an improved walk-on for the players that will feature a laser show. So the new base will be a familiar one to TV viewers as a venue for the swimming events at the Olympic Games just last year held in Paris. It is also the home of the French top 14 rugby club Racing 9-2 and regularly hosts the world's best known performing artists. Now the ATP Masters 1000 event will run from the 27th of October to conclude on the 2nd of November. Still on the tennis court, Coco Gauff said her victory at the Wuhan Open on Sunday had boosted her confidence after a disappointing run of results as the American prepares now to defend her title at the season-ending WTA finals in the city of Riyadh in Saudi Arabia next month. Now Gauff defeated a compatriot Jessica Pegula 6-4 and 7-5 in the final of the WTA 1000 event to clinch her 11th career WTA singles title. It was the 21-year-old's first title since winning the French Open in June of this year, and also came after a series of uninspired performances, which included a fourth-round defeat by Naomi Osaka in the US Open. So Gauff, who did not drop a set in Wuhan for 2 weeks, has won all 9 of her finals on the hard courts. On Sunday, Gauff became the first woman in a decade to win 9 consecutive hard court finals, a feat last achieved by the great Serena Williams, who won 12 between 2013 and 2015. Well, that brings the time to 15:34 p.m. Central African Time and concludes your sports news this afternoon. On the upside, I do return in the next hour with a final sports update for the afternoon. As always, for any sports stories you'd like to share with us, remember to send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us. The newsroom line is +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Mosibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and the whole country affected by gender-based violence. For all your favorite SABC radio stations, call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. The Upside. On the Upside, your voice matters.
15:36, Chandugo Ligege standing by with the latest in business.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thank you, Mmatsheko. Good afternoon. Let's start in West Africa. Mali has announced it will require U.S. nationals to post bonds of up to $10,000 for business and tourist visas after the Trump administration said the West African nation would be added to its visa bond program. The U.S. Embassy in Mali said it will require bonds of up to $10,000 for tourist and business visas under the pilot program effective on the 23rd of October. According to a U.S. government notice, the funds will be returned to travelers if they depart in accordance with the terms of their visas. French broadcasting group Canal Plus says it is planning a secondary listing on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange JSE after it acquired South African broadcaster MultiChoice. Canal Plus closed the $2 billion MultiChoice acquisition in September, adding that MultiChoice's extensive African subscriber base to its portfolio, with the combined entity serving more than 40 million subscribers across nearly 70 countries. It will begin the listing process in Johannesburg once MultiChoice has been delisted from the JSE. The delisting is expected to be completed before year-end. Women remain underrepresented in senior management and on company boards across the G20 nations, despite accounting for at least 40% of global GDP. This was revealed at the market opening ceremony at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange in South Africa to mark the official launch of the Women 20 Summit. It is a G20 engagement group dedicated to advancing women's economic participation across the globe. Head of delegation of W20 South Africa, Professor Nainia Bola Miller, says more needs to be done for women's financial inclusion and enterprise.
We have a while to go. I mean, it is our purpose as Women 20 to mainstream gender equality and women's economic empowerment into G20 processes. But I think that there's been a bit of a step back, and we're wondering where we're going from here into 2026, whether gender equality is going to be on the agenda again.
The South African National Parks, SANParks, has reported an 11% revenue increase for the 2024-25 financial year from $209 million to $234 million. The institution says 74% of its total revenue comes from exchange transactions from tourism and other tourism-related activities. Nothando Magudulela reports.
According to the institution, the results present an overall positive overview of the entity's operational and financial performance. SANParks says it also received an unqualified audit outcome for the same period, affirming the strength of its financial governance and management practices. The entity says it continues to improve its internal controls, which have yielded positive results, as reflected in the Auditor General's report.
The International Maritime Organization (IMO) will meet this week to formally decide whether to impose a carbon emissions price on global shipping, a move supported by an EU-led bloc including Britain, China and Japan, but strongly opposed by the US. The IMO struck a preliminary deal to charge the global shipping industry for emissions in April after the US pulled out of associated talks, prompting Washington to threaten reciprocal measures against any fees charged on US ships. The April deal is now tabled for adoption at a meeting of the IMO's Environmental Committee scheduled for October 14th until the 17th, which is expected to include the US. Now let's have a look at financial indicators this afternoon. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,461 naira. In Botswana, 13 pula 11. Kenya, the dollar is 127 shilling, 736. Zambia, 22 kwacha 52. BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is at 5 real 19. Russia, 81 rubles 42. India, 88 rupees 75. China, 71 14. South Africa, 17 rand 48 cents. $1 is 74 pence to the British pound and 85 to the euro. Commodities: gold is $4,077, platinum at $1,651 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil at $63.72 a barrel. That is all for now. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or you can call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Chanduko Ligege.
Business News on Channel Africa. The African Perspective. Whatever you want to hear about today's talk, you can get it on the upside.
Well, here we are, 18 minutes to go till it is 4 p.m. in Central African time, still hanging out with Mmatsheko. She is a South African television and film star, and also the new face of L'Oréal Paris, representing the sub-Saharan Africa.
Period.
Oh my God, we need to have one of these wonderful music producers write a song about you. Like,
guys, that's my
dream.
dream.
Like they always,
please.
Like, all the beautiful, amazing, successful women get it. Bonang got it.
Pearl Tusi got the most iconic. Like,
yes,
that was an amazing song.
Oh man, I can hear it.
Even like a line, even like just a little shout out. Like, give me a little, guys, please do something. Nasty C, MT, come on.
And those are good names, so please do the right thing. I would love to hear that. Let's talk about this wonderful endorsement by L'Oréal Paris.
Yes.
And you gave us a little bit of a story around how rigorous the vetting is, and not just on their end but on yours as well, because you need to figure out, do I like them? You know, do they represent not only me, but other girls that look like me,
yes,
other girls that come from the Eastern Cape like I do.
Yes.
You know, representation is very important. So this appointment marks a very powerful milestone, not only for you personally and the Ama brand, but also just representation of spaces of beauty.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So what would you like to see happen? And also perhaps also give us some details as to what your partnership with L'Oréal
is going to look like.
Yeah, how it's going to unfold.
I really feel like it's important for me, and a conversation I had with the team is like to lift as I rise. So one of the things that I did like for my launch was to say, can we invite the fans? Can we invite actually the customers who love the brand, and let them also be part of this moment, you know, because what I wanted it to feel like is I really wanted that everyone to walk away feeling beautiful, feeling worth it. So we did like bracelets, we did really self-affirming things. We wanted everyone to walk away with just a feeling of like, yes, like I feel worth it, I feel beautiful, and just have like a little special memory of that time. But I definitely want that. Like I really want to lift as I rise. I think I've taken a very bold decision of trying to position myself as someone that people can look up to.
Yes.
And I am trying to like break down so many doors for a lot of young girls who are going to come after me, so that it's a little easier for them stepping into these roles, so that we get more of these opportunities, right? Because if one person gets it, it's kind of like a test. Let's see how this is going to work out. But yeah.
Would you ever, I mean, in the future, would you ever think of starting a beauty line? I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be like makeup, but just something that represents beauty. I mean, obviously way down the timeline.
Yeah. I don't know, actually. I think right now what I would like is to grow with the brand.
Okay.
And I think they do that as well, like quite a lot. Like I know that Eva Longoria started maybe as like a makeup, and what they want to do even with the skincare, you know, like maybe like one day I'll be doing the wrinkles and like the anti-aging.
Oh, the
anti-aging campaigns. Exactly. But yeah,
Yes.
I think definitely right now it's just how can I grow with this brand.
Okay. Well, I mean, I know that's a very unfair question, but you just never know, you know.
You never know. Yeah.
You never know what.
But
your
I haven't
response is
thought
gonna be.
about that. I haven't thought about it. No.
And that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair, because we're in the current and the now, and we are enjoying
Yes.
the current space that we're in. L'Oreal Paris, a global brand. There's huge responsibility that comes to that. You know so you're going to gather your fans in one room.
Yes.
When they walk away, I mean, you speak about them feeling like they're worth it.
Yeah.
Which is such a huge thing and a big philosophy of mine as well. How would you like them to feel as they go out and not only use the products, but how they feel about self, how they feel about having seen you make your own dreams come true?
I feel like one of the things that I try to kill, like when it comes to my image and how people perceive me, is to see me beyond anything than being a human being trying to figure it out.
Right.
So I think just a space where I can connect with people who probably see me as like, oh my gosh, look at what you've achieved and how did you do it, and just to see that it actually just took really authenticity. I mean, yes, hard work, strategizing, having a great team, that is all part of it. But I think most importantly, what these brands are looking for is, who are you? You know, I think what the world is looking for, actually, let's take it out of the conversation of the brand. But I think a lot of times in life, people really want you know, and I feel like we live in a world where we try to follow trends because we think this is what's going to make people interested in me. This is what's going to get people to like me. And for me as well, like in my own story, my journey, I feel like growing up, I didn't see like a lot of representation of like a dark-skinned woman in a beauty campaign. You know, there was very few. But I never felt like being dark skinned was a disadvantage. I actually said I always saw it as an advantage, because when I'd go to like auditions, I'd be like the only dark skinned girl there. Like a lot of times, like these light skins and not these light skins. Oh my gosh, I'm not saying it like that. But I think just the beauty standard in South Africa is definitely like very shaped. So I feel like I never felt like that was a disadvantage. I thought it made me stand out. Where I think a lot of times for other people, it could be seen like as an insecurity, like, oh my gosh, I need to do this so people can like me. I need to be that. But I felt like what made me different is what made me stand out.
Where does that come from? Because that is a very unique perspective.
You know, I don't know. I feel like I also just came from a family that was very affirming. You know, like my mom just always affirmed in me that you're beautiful, you're worthy, you're confident. Like one of the philosophies and principles that I grew up with is humility, respect, and gratitude will take you far in life. And that was actually one of the philosophies and like principles I explained in my campaign video. Because even like when we're shooting like the campaign, it's like, who's Amma? You know, tell us about your story. And they try to write a script around that. But just those principles that like carried me throughout my life.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about you know, the campaign and how it is kind of how you're going to put it out there.
Yeah.
So you've done the campaign, you've told the story. You know, what is the story? Because it's very easy for us to look at beauty surface level.
Yeah.
To still look at the shapes of our noses, the colors of our skin, the textures of our hair.
Yeah.
You know, perhaps let's talk about the story that also filters through superficial beauty, but beauty being skin deep. You know, your principles that you talk about that I get a sense are very important to you. Character, you know, what you're putting in your body that also contributes to your beauty and your light. Let's talk about that part of the story.
I think it's number one, authenticity. I will always always advocate for that. I think it's such an underrated thing that people don't think matters, but it really does.
Yes.
Because no one will ever be you, and I think that's something you really have to appreciate. Actually, I was having this conversation with a friend of mine, and I was saying that even being in Paris, it felt like there was a lot happening. And when you in these environments, especially in the entertainment industry, there's a lot of pressure to be seen. Like, you have to be the flashiest person, the loudest person in the room often to get people to notice you. And I'm really just not that person. I'm very to myself. I'm an observer. I'm very quiet. I'm very chilled. And I was talking to my friend, which is also good to have support systems because they remind you a lot of who you are. And I was saying, I really feel like I should be doing more. Like I should be, And then she said, I really think you underestimate the fact that maybe the fact that you are quiet, you are yourself, you're more reserved is what draws people to you. It's like you're not like everyone else who's doing that. So I think just trusting that, okay, just showing up as yourself, people notice. Maybe they won't say to your face then, but people do see it, and they're like, okay, make a little note. But I think taking care of yourself, like I work out, I eat healthy, just things like that as well. It just also helps me be more productive. So I do take that into consideration.
You are also human.
Exactly.
So let's talk about, just the ordinary, because I think also I'm watching a lot of I follow a lot of divine feminines, and I love to kind of follow them and collect them as archetypes. I really love it. And there's a universal message around how women are working so hard, and there's just this boss babe energy that's going around. Everybody wants to
be a boss,
and that's not very good for our hormonal health, for our feminine circadian rhythms, and things like that. It's very interesting. It's a very powerful space. So with that, you being a woman, you still needing to rest and get the beauty sleep, but also wanting to be productive. What is your philosophy around that?
It's actually interesting that I'm hearing this, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to actually look into that, because I feel like I'm someone, if I'm passionate about something, I will give it my all. Like, what is sleep? It's like, what is rest? I feel like it feels a lot of times often that you don't really get these opportunities, and when you do, you really have to give it your all. And you'll rest when you rest, man. But I'm really someone who likes to go for something and come with it in a really intense energy and passion. Even when we're shooting the campaign for L'Oreal, I think we went long hours, and they were actually quite impressed. Oh my gosh, your stamina, are you not tired? I'm like, no, I love this, I want to do this. So I feel like I haven't experienced that yet, fatigue or tiredness or anything like that yet. But also I think that's good to note. Because you've got age on your side. I think so too,
and you're also listening to your body.
Do you get what I'm saying? I think I do think when you're in your 20s, also you are afforded the opportunities to make mistakes. In your 20s, it's still cute.
I love that.
People will give you grace. It's
I love that.
It really is. No, she doesn't really know. So I think it is important to just give it your all right now while it's still cute, and people are more forgiving.
And I think that's a powerful message for women that are trying to compete with very seasoned people, is that you can take it easy. You can
make mistakes.
It's
actually, you have to make mistakes.
And it will still be cute. I like that.
It will, because you're 20. They're like, oh, she doesn't know. She's just starting out. But you have to make mistakes. Mistakes are what teach you what to do or what not to do.
Totally.
You can't run away from that.
Okay, so we're celebrating the campaign, but as we wrap it up, just talk to us about, when we're going to start seeing the campaign unfold online, what's happening on your social media, and what else you're working on.
I think it's already started. Not I think, it has. We already started rolling the campaign. So there are stuff online. I actually saw on TikTok, oh my gosh, this was so funny. So they did a little surprise reveal, and they did my shadow walking, and they're like, guess who's the next face of L'Oreal? And I was like, oh my gosh, who's gonna guess? And everyone guessed it was me. I was like, oh, that is so funny.
Isn't it crazy?
I was like, that is so
you like
insane.
that.
I'm like, from my nose, you guys could tell it was me. That's insane. But that has already started. But for me, I am just starting to produce a lot more now, because I want to be more behind the scenes.
Okay.
And having more agency over my career and having more decision-making power in terms of what I can do, the kind of projects I want to do. I also feel like I'm a very pedantic person. I like things a specific way. So it's always easier to obviously collaborate and have different voices in the room, but also to have your voice in the room so that it is considered. So producing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like, can I just say that is the work of a real actress. Can I just say, look, I'm going to say it how I'm feeling it in my spirit.
Yeah.
Because the real actresses that are doing the work are looking at, what else am I talented at?
Yeah.
How can I make the story better?
Yeah.
How can we research a character better?
Definitely.
And I think writing is definitely the way to go.
100%.
It shows how passionate you are and how
I love
you
my
want to
job.
do this right.
Guys, I'm like the luckiest girl in the world. I really love what I do. And the fact that I knew from 9 years old that this was my path, and for it to happen, I think even people back home, I wish one day, guys, please come out. And I told everyone, I said it. I said, guys, this is what's going to happen. This is the life I'm going to have. I'm going to do this. And everyone's like, okay, Amma. But it's happening.
The power of speaking life into your own dreams.
Literally. You have to. You have to believe in yourself before anyone else does. You have to see that you're great and your potential before anyone else can see it.
Yeah.
So
but you are a cup of God. Where's your water?
It's right here. Cheers.
Cheers, darling. Congratulations
Thank
on
you so
everything.
much. Thank
Not
you.
just the L'Oreal partnership, but really just everything that is a culmination of the work and the women that we're seeing today.
Thank you so much.
All the best. Amakamata on social media platforms.
Everywhere, yeah.
Okay?
Amakamata, AMAQAMATA.
Okay, easy enough. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
It was wonderful.
zochitika ndi madaphiri kamlondola wa zochitika pena paliponse.
mabhizinesi osiyanasiyana mdziko la south africa ayamba kukhoma msonkho wa 30% akamagulitsa katundu awo ku dziko la united states of america. ndipo panotele ndikatswiri wa zachuma mu dziko la malawi dr bertha chikadza. boma la south africa masiku apitawo linanena kuti ngati america akani kutsitsa msonkho, bomalo lipeza misika ina. mungatifotokozere kuti ndizotheka south africa kupeza misika yomwe ingabweretse ndalama pafupifupi $15 billion zomwe imapezeka ku misika ya ku america.
tinene kuti izizi zitha kuchitika koma sizingachitike mwa pompopompo chifukwa tikaonetsetsa izi zinthu zokuti inali msika wa dziko la america noni msika wakukhazikika umene dziko la south africa linali likazolowera kale. tsono kuti tingonena kuti dziko la south africa lipezanso msika mwina mwasangasanga kuti lizitumiza katundu wake, mwina sizingachitike pachokuti tikunena papa $15 billion ndi ndalama zambiri ndithu.
zochitika ndi madaphiri lolemba mpaka lachisanu pa nthawi ya 7 koloko kufikira 8 koloko madzulo pa channel africa. Mmatsheko Mosito and Tebogo Lekhuleni on the upside.
Thanks for staying with us on Channel Africa's Upside as we bring you, listen, we filter in sound, conversation, and open gateways for you to explore the African continent through lifestyle and also just some progressive stuff that's happening, like the conversation we had around beauty with wonderful South African superstar Mmatsheko, who has just left the building. So from talking about beauty and endorsements with L'Oréal Paris to really looking at what is happening, really magnifying what's happening within business on the African continent, we have Tami Ngubeni standing by in her chairwoman's chair.
Yes. And I was just saying, what a
business.
lovely, stunning young woman, isn't she?
Is
Just
absolutely
gorgeous.
picturesque.
She really is. She really
Stunning.
is. And great conversations coming out of that. Well, Peter Mutharika has hit the ground running, the freshly minted president of Malawi, and has made some startling changes, dissolving boards of parastatals in the country. We'll look at the reaction to that. And then also the Public Investment Corporation, which is the public, the government-owned run pension fund. They've introduced a 1.35 billion rand investment into early stage mining. And this is not just for South Africa. So we'll look at which other countries would benefit from that. And that equates to about $78 million.
Okay, there's lots to talk about. Also, it's a Monday. We're out of the weekend. We're looking at what's happening with the Cameroonian election that could affect places and spaces within business as well. So please tune in the next hour. Tami Ngubeni with Africa in Business. It's 4 p.m. I am leaving the building. We'll be with you again tomorrow as I continue the show solo. Onelin Sinzi standing by with the news at 4. See you again tomorrow.